Okay. Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Just doing a quick sound check before we begin. Okay. Let's see. Alright, time to say hello to everyone, and then I'm going to bring on my guest, Swamp. I'm very excited. It's the first time he's going to be live with me, so yay! I hope you all have brought lots of questions too. How is everyone? Alright. Hello, Laura. Good to see you. You're here with a little kitty. Sock Goblin. Why are you like this, Sock Goblin? Hello, Sharon. Lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. Silver, good to see you here too. Mandy! Lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Devane. Good to see you again. Danny! Good to see you too. Infinite, lovely to see you as well. Excellent, excellent. Lone Wolf, my favorite pup. Welcome, welcome. Hello, General. Good to see you. That's right, the horror. Let's do this. Let's see. Hello, Sloth. Welcome. Okay, everyone can hear me. Good, good. Hey, baby, Miss Creepy Tails. I loves the BBs. Okay. Iced Coffee. Good to see you too. Alright, so I'm going to call Swamp now. And hello, Rosé. Alright, I'm doing good, Lone Wolf. I'm doing good. I needed to up my coffee intake this morning, but anyway, here goes. Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Okay, you're alive.
Cool, cool. Welcome. Welcome to the swampy side of things, my friend.
Thank you, thank you. Alright, I'm just gonna...
I am now taking this over.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I suppose it's karma for how many streams I've taken over. It was bound to happen someday. So, how are you, first of all?
I'm not too bad. How are you yourself? Getting a little tongue-tied. Holy crap.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, my chat can be kind of rowdy sometimes. But usually they're picking on me instead.
A rowdy chat's a good chat, right?
That is
it's
true.
A healthy chat.
Yes. So you may see a lot of penguins in there. Just blame Lucid Lupus for that.
I'm down with penguins. Penguins are cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Alright, so I've got some questions that I just wrote up, like, just randomly. God damn it, Maskino. So unless the chat wants to ask questions too, I may as well go. Okay, so this is, I'm sorry, I'm so disorganized right now, but you want to introduce yourself to people who may not know you?
Sure. I am the Swamp Dweller. I'm a narrator, documentaire, whatever you want to call it on the internet. I do kind of a little bit of everything. Whatever you want to call it, scary, I cover it. Anything mysterious, I cover it. Also live stream here and there as well. And just those ominous, spooky dudes chilling in the swamp over here, you know, keeping Shrek at bay, saving the world one day at a time.
Excellent. That was a good intro. Very good intro. So, what is your favorite genre of horror?
Honestly, I'd probably have to say like the psychological thriller ones, the ones that kind of like really make you think. They're like, I like a story where like you're into it, then suddenly it's like there's a twist, and you're like, holy crap, what the hell? And then like it just makes you think about the whole story in a different way. It's like, I don't know, it just kind of gets those creative juices going and kind of like really gets you into the story and stuff like that. So I like those psychological thrillers.
Okay, so that's not asking as many questions as I thought it would. Hello Beaky, welcome. Hello Maskino. Okay, I think I got everyone here. Hello Christian. Alright, so what kind of content would you like to branch into that you haven't gotten into just yet?
Shoot, that's a good question. I feel like I branched into so much. I feel like something that I would like to break into that I've never thought before until like recently is maybe just getting into more of like pop culture stuff. Maybe, more into like, what you would see on like drama channels except without the drama.
Yeah,
Maybe just covering stuff in that kind of sense. But every time I kind of approach that, I'm like, yeah, this is just not me though. It's just the one thing I've never done. So I'm just like, I feel like that would be cool to do, but at the same time, anytime I try to tackle it, it just doesn't feel authentic for me.
makes sense. Makes sense. Plus, I think also when you try to go into like that type of content, like the drama channels may try to like get you involved in it, like in the drama,
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just really not into drama and all that kind of stuff. Like I love like listening about the tea and watching the tea unfold, but I hate having to actively like be in it. And I feel like if you're like one of those mediums, you're kind of automatically a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I've stopped watching a lot of drama channels. Just I don't know. It's stressful. I know. I don't want to listen to it. But
Stress-free life for me. I'm good.
exactly. Oh, so we've got a couple of questions for you. Let's see. So Laura would like to know, what is your favorite Fallout faction?
I'm gonna have to be honest. If you're talking about like the Fallout games, I don't think I've ever played those, so
Oh,
I don't know if I have a favorite Fallout faction. The good one, whatever your favorite Fallout faction is, that's mine.
it's such a fence-sitting answer. It's so good. I don't know. Like, I like certain factions in certain games, but not in others. So I
Yeah,
loved the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 3, but I didn't like them so much in Fallout 4, as an example.
I feel that. I'm pretty like filthy casual with games. Only like until I started the Twitch thing did I really start like getting into games. I was always focused on like much different hobbies, so it's kind of like for me, I'm like kind of like coming to a whole new world. Like I played like older games and stuff, but when it
Mm.
comes to all this stuff like Fallout and all that, I kind of missed that curve, unfortunately.
So, what are your hobbies, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, well, outside of like just like content in general, I make music. I like to do a lot of outdoor stuff. Like I go mountain biking, we go cross country running and hiking, and we go out and just do all kinds of stuff in nature. Really, just nature based stuff, and just music and stuff like that.
I'm resisting the urge to make a swamp joke reference when you said nature. Um, hang on. Oh my god, sorry, the chat just moved. Oh, so General would like to know what your favorite cryptid is.
The bunyip for sure. It's one of the first like obscure cryptids I ever came across and it's from like Aboriginal Australian kind
Mm,
of stuff, and it was also happened to be a swamp-based cryptid, and billabongs, whatever they're called over there.
yep.
So I was like, oh, that's super cool. And for whatever reason, just like the amount of variations of how it's looked, the fact that they even had bodies and bones of them at one point, and that the Aboriginals talk about them, plus the Europeans that came over talk about them as well. It's so interesting and something that not a lot of people knew about. So I'd probably say the bunyip just because of that, really.
Cool. Oh, thank you, Mandy. You reckon Nuggies is love? Thank you. I'm doing little like
That is facts.
that is true. I haven't had chicken
Where's the
nuggets
lie?
for 3 months or something like that now.
Oh, that's wild. You're on a strike? What's happening here?
No, I'm trying to be on a diet and it's hell.
Chicken's a lean protein. What do you mean?
I know, but like when I have chicken nuggets, I tend to have it with like with chips, like fries and like Coke and
Uh,
yeah. I
get the Diet Coke. It's okay. Be one of those people.
oh, I don't know, like it just like I have the sugar-free Coke, but it's just it doesn't have the same oomph. Like
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel it.
Um Mods, could you post Swamp's links in the chat, please? So how did you find Phasmophobia, by the way? I watched some
Just
of it.
kind of I don't honestly have no idea like how you're supposed to play that game still to this day, and we've done like 10 streams on it. I just kind of scream and get scared a lot and die and or run to the van and leave everybody. But I have no idea how I discovered the game. I think it was just I might have saw my friend Reckless Eating, who's like a Twitch streamer all the time. He does like stuff like that. I might have seen them playing it, and that might have been where it is, or maybe I saw it on YouTube. But I was like, okay, this seems like something people are playing and like, and everybody's like, oh, it's like a ghost hunting game. I'm like, cool. I didn't know I was gonna get my ass slapped, but
Well, if
didn't
you
know
ever
that's what I was
need
signing up for.
if you ever need someone to play with, down to play some Phas with you. I play a lot with
Oh,
Miss
you're
Creepy
always
Tales.
welcome.
Excellent, excellent.
We can have we can have a little bit less sausage on the stream. It's always a massive sausage fest. So
I'll try to like warn you, like the warning signs before the ghosts about to hunt and everything too, and what you're not supposed to do.
I immediately freak out. Apparently, you're not supposed to talk bad about the ghost or whatever, but that's all I know how to do. So all I'm doing the whole time is just saying blah blah blah's name, you suck or something like that, and then I get got about 10 seconds in. And it's like, oh, well, I guess that's probably not the best strategy, but it was funny.
Hey, so long as it's funny, you can die with like a laugh, with a smile on your face.
A little bit of dignity, right?
Yeah. So Beaky asks, how about the Elder Scrolls?
I played Morrowind a long time ago. Oblivion, I probably put like half my childhood into, and I played Skyrim like one time when it first came out. But I'd have to say Oblivion's probably like one of my all-time favorite games. I've easily put like maybe 1,000 or more hours into that game just like in one summer. I just played that game like all day and night. There's one time where I just wanted to see if I could get like 99 jumping or whatever the skill was back then just by jumping in one place the whole time, or not 99 but like maxed out skill, excuse me. And I did, and I spent like 6 hours doing that. So
Nice. Yeah, I was quite addicted to Skyrim for a long time. Like it was my relaxing, like avoid real life game for a while. So I understand.
I just love it was like kind of a game that you could just play over and over because you could just do so many things. Like they mentioned in the chat, like the Dark Brotherhood and all the like different guilds you can be a part of and all the different like storylines there are. It's a lot of fun.
I like
Everyone
that.
always asks for the factions. I don't know about the factions, guys. I don't know. I've never been like that kind of gamer where I'm like, ah, oh, this is my team, for the horde or whatever it is. You know, I'm just like, I play the game. It's like, yes, the game.
It's really interesting. They're like, hey, come join our mass wars, and it's like, but I don't want to. I want to do my own thing. If I want to go and pick flowers, I want to go and pick flowers. And if I want to kill these bandits, I want to go kill these bandits. Don't tell me what to do. Hello, Aisha.
Yeah, I'm completely like useless with a lot of that kind of stuff though. Like I don't normally like pick the sides unless you kind of have to. Unless like Pokemon goes pick a team. I'm like I don't normally pick a team because I'm just like oh shoot. I'm the same way with sports. I'm just stoked about the sports, and then they're like, "What's your team?" Like, "Oh shit, now I gotta find a team." Then anytime you pick a team, they're like, "You bandwagoning son of a." I'm just like I can't win. Like, it's like I just like the sports ball.
Yeah. So Silver asks, ask him what his first scary movie from his childhood was.
I don't know what the first one was. Well, one of the first like early memories I can think of a scary movie is there was these kids that used to terrorize me when I was a little kid. I was probably like 5 or 6, and they would like wake me up at 3 a.m. with like Chucky on the screen and stuff. So that would probably be like the first one, but like the first movie like I got into and like was watching as like a fan, you know. Probably The Sixth Sense is that movie I can think of to where like I watched it the first time and it was just one of those movies, like I said, a psychological thriller where the story twists so hard at the end. I was like, wait, this whole movie makes no sense to me now. So I watched it like 6 times and until I finally like understood it, and I was like, oh, I love this. But so I'd probably have to say like Sixth Sense. But if we're going with, like the first one I can remember is the Chucky movies.
Nice. It's been a long time since I've seen the Chucky movie.
Same, honestly. I don't know. Maybe it was just because I was terrorized by those movies as a kid, but I never really got into that franchise. I've watched it a bunch of times. I just hate dolls. I'm not a doll guy. Dolls can, if they didn't exist, I'd be chilling, you know?
So, you're not into, say, narrating stories on like creepy dolls and all that?
Oh, I'll read that. I've done a couple of videos on dolls just themselves, but like in my house, no. Like you can have pretty much anything. Like my girlfriend's got like dead birds and foxes and skulls of animals all over the place. I don't care, but I'm just like, there's none of that. None of that.
Ooh, Lone Wolf finished all his homework. Well done, Lone Wolf.
A good strapping young lad.
Yep. Lone Wolf he always has to leave early because he has homework to do. And he's so dedicated to doing his homework. Silver says, ask him where the name Swamp came from. What's the origin story?
I really wish there was a really cool story behind it. I used to have this one that I made up and told people some crazy thing, but really, in reality, is the whole Swamp Dweller thing just came. I had a podcast before my channel was called Swamp Dweller, where I would interview people who were on like who were like the researchers for the show Monster Quest and all that, or I would interview people who allegedly seen, you know, cryptids or whatever. And eventually, I kind of got tired of, you know, doing that, and I did like 30 something episodes of that. And you know, you can only ask people about Bigfoot and things like that nature so much before you kind of just be like, damn, I have no more questions for this. So the original podcast was called Swamp Dog Chronicles, and I wanted to kind of keep that homage and keep that you know, the whole basis of how this whole, you know, channel started, and the whole origin was from a Seminole Creek legend that I heard from a lady when I used to work with her about a swamp protector that they would pray to, like a totem. If you notice, my guy isn't a monster; it's actually made completely of wood there with an animal skull on top, and they would you know, bleed whatever animal dry onto the thing, pray to the totem, and in, you know, retrospect, the spirit would possess that totem and protect the swamp. You know, there's even things in Spanish conquistador journals talking about these things in the woods they couldn't explain. And that's kind of where the origin of the Swamp Dweller came from, is just, you know, I wanted to keep the swamp theme, and I also wanted to make it more as a host type vibe instead of it being like a brand. So Swamp Dweller kind of just happened. It made sense. And I also just happened to live in a swamp.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that origin story. Like, so you didn't. It does sound like an origin story though. Like, because I was like, I couldn't quite tell what you're. I thought it was like more like a Wendigo or something at first when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm. I'd say a lot of people did just because like the antlers and like that. But that's just more because it was common for them to sacrifice deer and stuff because it was the most abundant and, you know, easy accessible thing. They'd also, like, you know, like back in the day, like Florida Panthers and all that, they would grab them, or other various like red wolves that are here, whatever. But like I felt like those didn't kind of look as cool as, you know, the whole deer depiction does these days. But it does have somewhat of an interesting real backstory to it, as well as just me kind of not being as original. Well, I guess not as original, but also just wanting to keep that whole swamp thing going because I felt like it was unique. And, you know, like I still think to this day, like, you know, with the hundreds of channels there are in this niche, you know, like Swamp Dweller is still a name that you'd remember if you saw it.
It's pretty memorable. Like it stands out amongst everyone. I think there's so many names with say something like creepypasta in it that like they all kind of blur together sometimes. Also,
yeah, I definitely did not want to. Oh, my bad. I definitely didn't want to be like, you know, blah 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 pasta or Mick Scary Guy Reads or anything. Nothing against people that do that. I just felt like there was already just, even back then, there were so many people who did that. So I felt like just coming up with a name that was kind of unique to itself and kind of was just kind of memorable would have been a better thing to go with.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much, Aisha. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, thank you. So hang on. Aisha says, I've lost it. Hang on. I love you guys. Big shout out to the awesome Swamp Dweller and everyone here. Amazing people with amazing content. So happy to see Swamp Dweller. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I'm trying to like make sure I don't miss anyone like coming in and saying hello. Hello, Izzy. Hello, Nightmare Files. Welcome, welcome. Have a good one, Beaky. So, Iced Coffee would like to know, what are your worst phobias?
Changed quite drastically over the years. I used to be deathly afraid of horses because when I was a young child, again, growing up in the rural South on farms, I got messed up bad by like a horse and it's like stomped me out and messed me up. So I was always really scared of them. But over the years, being by a lot of them recently, I've kind of gotten more comfortable with them. But that was one that I had for a while. That was kind of crazy. And then I have this, I don't even know if you can call it like a phobia, but like I have like a, well, I guess it is called thanatophobia. It's like I have a excruciating like awareness of my own mortality and like am kind of like not necessarily scared of death but dreading death.
That makes sense. Like, so not necessarily death itself, but like how you would die? Oh my god.
Just more of I guess dying like before I guess you feel like you've lived a full life, I guess.
That makes sense. Like, yeah. Also, thank you for the donation. I'm not kicking you off, by the way.
That was my best attempt, guys, to get out of here, but
No, you're stuck. I'm
it seems
sorry.
like
Look, you're stuck here for, I don't know, either an hour and a half to 2 hours. So you're staying here.
we're locked in, boys. The
Yep.
shackles are around my ankles.
Oh. Thank you so much, Nightmare Files. Thank you for dropping by. It's greatly appreciated. Also, thank you, Amateur Animator, for becoming a channel member. It is all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. I forgot I was going to ask, damn it.
Much love to Nightmare Files. Great guy.
Hell yeah. So Rose asks, what is your go-to pre-narration meal?
Ooh. Honestly, I'd have to say like a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich. It's just like a go-to easy quick thing that'll like be like at my house in like 5 minutes when I'm lazy about cooking. So I'd have to say that for sure.
I like that. That's good. Mine's like blueberries. Because they're, I don't know. They're just, I don't know, I just love blueberries. April Tape says...
that's better than a chicken sandwich.
No, chicken sandwiches are good too. April Tape says, hee hee, look at these nerds. Calling us out, April Tapes.
Word. Feels bad.
Hey, Creepy Patch Kid. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Mr. Oh my god. How do I say that name? Dell. I'm sorry, but thank you for subscribing. Hello, Infinite. I'm lost. I'm sorry. Hang on. I can't hear the music, Blasian, but the music is by Tanner Stokes. If you would like to check him out, he does amazing music. Hey, Entropic, welcome, welcome. Oh, so Silver has a question for you. Silver asks, how much has your life changed after reaching 200,000 subs compared to having your first 10 subs?
It's a good question. I mean, it's changed a lot in many ways, but you know, for good and bad, I guess. But ultimately, I guess like as a person and like how I see myself and portray myself and carry myself hasn't changed. You know, it's not like suddenly I walk around the world and be like, oh, I'm a freaking swamp dweller. But it's definitely changed my life in the sense that like, you know, things are much more obtainable for me, you know, not to say that like I'm rich or anything like that, but like to say like things are, you know, I'm not living in my car anymore. I'm not working 2 jobs back to back every single day anymore. I'm able to actually do something that I, love and care about and have passion for. Um, so it's made me a much happier person, a much more fulfilled person, somebody who is a lot less, I guess, bitter and, out of place because, I'm one of those people, as I think a lot of people can kind of um, relate to, is I never felt like school was for me. I never felt like, getting a career as like a lawyer or a carpenter or anything like that was ever me. And all the jobs I ever had that were like that, like, I would put my all into it and always work as hard as I can, no matter what it was. But it just didn't feel like that was fulfilling, and that wasn't what I was meant to be. I always felt like I was meant to make people laugh and smile, and whether that was through the medium of YouTube, or being a stand-up comedian, or being a metal musician, or being a scary person on YouTube, it may have been. I just felt like this is what it's. When I subscribe opportunity, and luckily do.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's always really interesting when creators are able to make careers out of their creations and they're able to enjoy what they do. I think that's always really impressive.
Definitely. And it's cool too because when I was a kid growing up, I really wanted to. I had like an affinity for the radio, and I really wanted to be like a radio DJ or a host or something like that. I just loved hearing the funny shows in the morning where they're just like kind of talking trash to each other and all that. And I was like, that just sounds so cool. So like this is kind of like the new radio in a sense. So it's like it's kind of like a childhood dream kind of come full circle.
Nice. The horror says, aside from creating great content, what did you do to help your channel grow and succeed?
I looked at the platform. I looked at what other people in the niche were doing. I looked at and most importantly, I looked at what they weren't doing, and I looked for a way to take what I saw, what was working from other people, and figure out a way to apply it to my own channel without copying people, because it's not necessarily the best way to go. So consistency was like probably the biggest thing. It's 6 years of doing this. I've never missed an upload. We're always on time. Anytime I say a video's there, video's there. Being subscribed to my channel, anytime, you click on that channel, there's something new for you. And just being that source of consistent content is going to be the most important thing over, anything else, really. Like collabs, sure, they're helpful, but I can probably honestly say, like, collabing with all the cool people I have, whether it's like Livestream or Darkness Prevails or any of that, has done not much for me in comparison to just uploading consistently, not complaining about the mundane things that YouTube does. I think that's a very big mistake a lot of people do, especially early on, is nobody really, like, people don't really care about you already. Imagine now people that don't really care about you that much, and now they're seeing you complain about everything. You know what I mean? Like, the incentive to really care about you kind of drops really hard. So I would say, as for people starting, just focus on what matters. It's just the content. Don't worry about the sub count or the views. As long as you're getting half your sub count or more in views, be happy. That's good stuff, that's what you need to be working on. And just looking at the content, like each video you need to look at, look at the watch time. Where do people clicking off? Look at that part of the video. Try to figure out what part of that video is making people click off, and try to apply that to the next video. And little changes, whether it's getting better thumbnails over time or slightly better visuals or whatever it may be.
I like that. That is such helpful advice too. Like, consistency is important, like more so than anything else. Like collabs have helped me a lot, but if people aren't seeing regular content, I like how I'm saying this when I haven't uploaded like a video in a while because of my break, but you need to upload consistently, otherwise it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, like if you do a collab, say like you get on a much larger channel, like it sounds like it would be much more helpful than it actually is, because a lot of factors go into it, especially the type of scary content you're covering, But like it's about consistency. Like if people click on your channel, they're not going to care that you only have say 200 subs or whatever it is. You know, they're going to care about how much content you have and how regular it comes out and the quality of it. So if you're putting out good narrations, say on a weekly basis, people are going to be more apt to subscribe because let's say you already have say 20 videos. They're like, holy crap, that's a lot of content. When they binge that, they already know there's going to be a new one every single week. So they're going to come back. It's going to make people want to subscribe. Like that's a big thing when it comes to YouTube. And YouTube's just a slow grind as it is, you know, like especially in this kind of niche, you know, it's not very often that people kind of explode overnight, you know, you don't see that too very often. I mean, it happens, but that's just kind of more of that's more of the luck than anything, you know, being consistent and grinding away and making sure your name is consistently in people's faces. They can't forget you if you're always, you know, they can't miss you if you never say goodbye, you know?
I like that. That's really... Everyone listen to Small Book. But is there anything that you see newer creators do, or even established YouTubers do, that you would set if you were them, you would just stop doing, like other than complaining and stuff?
I think, yeah, nobody wants to see you complain, but that's a hard question to answer. Because like everybody has their own thing too. Like what works for you won't work for me, and what works for me won't work for you, you know, necessarily. So it's really about the application and the community you cultivate. So like if you're like for me, like I've always been more of like on the positive beat, you know, just keep pushing forward, progression, and I feel like that's kind of what my community has become, is more of a, you know, positive, you know, uplifting community. And then you see other channels like we talked about earlier, like the T channels, where it's a lot of negativity and it's just a lot of toxicity, and you know, you kind of invite what you put out, you know, you get what you reap what you sow. So I feel like it's hard to answer that question, but I would mainly say just over posting. YouTube only gives you 3 channel notifications a day. So if you're over posting on your community page, or if you're posting a bunch of times video wise or shorts wise, all that kind of stuff, I would, you know, that's probably the only advice I could give to any channel across the board, because I feel like a lot of people don't know about the 3 notification thing a day, so that you kind of have to like use them super strategically. It's one of those things about YouTube that's really lame, but like you kind of just have to work with it if you want it to be, you know, more successful.
I didn't know that about the only 3 notifications per day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I didn't know that for a long time either, so when I figured that out, like that's when like I became very like exclusive almost, to say, when it came to like my posting and what I share and stuff. And some people might see that as like, oh, ego, but in reality it's just more quality control and trying to keep my reach, you know, strong, you know, because like when I do collabs, I want people to actually care and check out the people. I don't want to do collabs every week or every other episode where then people just don't care anymore because they're used to it, you know?
Yeah. Like that. So, Entropic asks, what is your go-to video genre?
Like, what do you mean? Like for like YouTube, for like movies, like video genre? What do you mean by that?
I'm guessing he means
Probably rabbit hole stuff and like podcasts. I'm really I don't listen to like scary stories. Like sometimes I will, like every so often, if I'm really feeling like listen to a spooky story, I'll flip on a Swamp Dweller. I'm just kidding. I'll turn on like Dark Somnium or like Mr. Creeps or something like that, and listen to their cool stories. But most of the time I'll end up in like some weird rabbit holes about like the origins of Soulja Boy, or like where some weird obscure internet meme came from, and then I'll have like this plethora of useless knowledge, or I can tell you all about Tupac and the day he died, but I can't, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's just like weird stuff like that I kind of get into on YouTube. I just love that rabbit hole stuff. I like having weird fun facts. I just love to be that guy at the party. It's like, did you know? And people are just like, we don't care.
like, how do you even know this?
It's just like, why are you telling me this, please?
Do you keep going on with more facts like right after they're questioning
I
you?
read the room, but if like it depends, like if like they're kind of like clowning me, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
Nice. Silver has another question for you. From the beginning of your YouTube career, did you have a group of other narrators to help you and each other grow?
No, actually, when I first came into the community, it was kind of a weird time for the community, and it was also super clicky at the time, and it's still kind of much the same, but it was clickier more in the like now it's much more accepting. People are cool. They're like you see new channels, they're like, oh super, that's dope. For me, since I already had I had like 1,000 subscribers when I officially like switched over to Swamp Dweller. So people kind of had this weird look on me that like, oh, this guy kind of came out of nowhere, even though you can clearly check my channel at that time and see that I had, you know, like 40 videos already and had been doing this for like 2-3 years. I just wanted to do something different from the podcast, and so I wasn't really welcomed with open arms when I first came in. It was only like 2 or 3 people that really were like, oh yeah, dude, this guy's dope. And I did like an interview real early on a channel called Margbot, and then I met like a bunch of people like Vidith22 and Unit 522 and stuff like that. And that's kind of eventually kind of made some groups of friends, but I didn't really have like a group of people who really helped me because I wasn't really a big collaborator like that anyway. And when I did start collabing, I've always really collabed down for the most part. I've done a handful, like I've been, like I said, I've been on like Let's Read, I've been on stuff like that, but I've mainly just like tried to help out people more than, you know, try to actively seek out collabs that would help myself out.
Nice. Nice. I've seen that. I've seen quite a few people. I know I've been on your channel a couple of times. And Danny and I think a couple of others as well I've seen. Nice.
Yeah, we recently had I think Danny and Lady Nopingham recently, and there's another newer voice. I'm just the name is slipping me right now, and I feel bad, but they were very good too.
It's difficult keeping track
My
of...
memory's fried.
It's all good. Mine's always fried. It's difficult keeping track of all it, like all the sort of people you've known for a while doing this, and also all the new faces popping up. And I used to be much better at keeping up with this, but now I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there's so many names. I try my best to remember and keep track, but I always confuse people, mess people up. I probably called everybody somebody else's name so many times, and I just feel bad. I'm just like, oh no. But it's like, oh crap, because I just don't really like. I'm not on Twitter like that, especially since Twitter, when they banned me like a year ago, or a year and a half ago, whatever it was. I just have like the new account to be able to like see what people are doing and to have that outlet to be able to tweet if I need to. But like, I'm just not super active, so I don't see these names super often. So when they do pop up, I'm just like, oh no, who's like? I know this person, I swear I do, but I'm just not remembering where I know them from.
Oh no. Did you ever find out what happened to your old account, like why it was banned?
It took like 9 months, and they eventually sent me some sort of thing saying I was promoting terroristic threats, and that's definitely not true. So like, I've never even gotten like a mute or any like temporary timeout. You know, I've never been in trouble ever. So like, when I randomly was like banned, I had no understanding why, and my Twitter for some reason was like blowing up at the time. I was going up like 1,000 followers a day. Like, I don't know what happened, but for some reason Twitter was loving me. And I just still think to this day it was my name. I still think, because when I first started my channel and named it Swamp Dweller and all that, at the same time it was like when Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were running for president, and they were saying drain the swamp and the Swamp Dwellers, and I kind of unfortunately got my branding got dragged into that a lot. Like CNN on Facebook was accidentally tagging my page, like it was, and it was like bad, you know. So I think Twitter kind of did something like that, because I've never said anything remotely terroristic on Twitter. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm just like, what? The last tweet I even said was like, just wishing everybody a positive day, and then suddenly it's like, you're banned. I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's terroristic as hell. I'm like, shit, my bad.
How
dare you?
How dare you be positive on Twitter? Don't you know it's a place of misery?
It's like literally, it's like the guy who got popular on Twitter for making Shrek jokes is banned for terroristic threats. It's like, okay, makes sense. It's like, all right.
Hey Gamma, welcome. Let's see. Next question. Ooh, so Zilla Aisha asks, what's the most challenging part of being a content creator? Your content is so great.
I appreciate that. And the hardest part is mainly just to be able to learn to compartmentalize and be able to live like a normal human being. I think when people see that like you're a YouTuber or you work from home, people think, "Oh man, that's awesome because you don't have to go anywhere." But when you take that normalcy, that routine of going places, having that normal interaction with people every single day, and you're sitting in your office or you're sitting in your room or wherever you make your videos, and you're not getting that human interaction, you're not getting that talk time, that speech time, that face time, and you become recluse. There was a time where I started becoming very depressed, just like I was before YouTube, because I had no friends. I had no real interaction with people, so I had to make it a real goal to be like, okay, I need to have a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 schedule, which I've stuck to. I need to make sure I'm making a video a day on these days, or even more, or whatever it is, and I got to make sure that I stick to it and compartmentalize to certain hours. So if I have a Twitch stream in, say, Monday night, I have to make sure that I'm done recording videos, say, by 3 p.m., so I have that gap time of being able to hang out with my girlfriend after she gets off work, being able to cook dinner and eat with them, and then be able to go and do my next piece of work. So it's all about just being able to put things into a schedule and stick to it. That's the hardest part, in my opinion.
I've noticed that too, like the scheduling, because like I have a list of like things I want to do like channel wise per day. And if I don't absolutely stick to my schedule, like I record this time, I do this, it just all falls apart really quickly because it's just I'm at home. I don't have to like I don't know.
Time just goes by so much quicker sometimes, and especially something I've noticed is, as I'm not that old, I'm only 26, but the older I get, I notice how much faster time just keeps going. And it's like I noticed, like, when I left high school, things just all of a sudden like accelerated so fast. It felt like every day was like a week. It's like, holy crap, now we're already back to Friday. So it's like when you're like doing the YouTube thing, like your day can go so fast when you're looking at a screen. And I think like just like the health in general, mental health, and just health in general, because like I was having a trouble for like only like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, where I was having really bad computer fatigue because my eyes were sensitive in the light. I couldn't drive without sunglasses. It was getting really bad, so I had to like significantly like cut down that kind of stuff too, and again like go back down to the compartmentalization and try to put things into boxes and make sure I'm doing what's best for myself, because at the end of the day we only have one life. It's very short. You got to take care of your health and try to make sure you're not doing too much wear and tear. When I first started, I did way too much wear and tear. I never really burnt out, I'd say, but I did get to points to where it's like, oh man, this is starting to become something that feels like a job. So anytime I don't feel like recording, anytime I'm just like, oh man, I'm not feeling it, I just stop, and I don't, because I don't want myself to have a resentment for this. I want this to be fun. And if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. Especially the type of person I am, I can't even focus on something if I don't have a little bit of fun with it or a little bit of interest in it. So I don't want to have that happen, especially with something that is a dream job to most.
That's true. Like I've noticed like a lot of like particularly people when they first start, burnout happens. I've noticed like it generally happens like after about 6 months. Or if they don't reach a certain milestone in a certain time period. Like if they don't reach like that 1,000 subs, that tends to
The
come up.
milestone burnout. That's why I tell people make small milestones, because those small victories add up to big wins. Like eventually those little W's are gonna stack up on top of each other and be a big W. And I still look at it with small numbers even to this day. It's like, yeah, my channel looks large, but in the greater scheme of things, there's like well over 3,000 to 4,000 channels that have 1 million subscribers, and I'm not one of those channels. So you know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, there's a lot of people doing a lot of great big things on this platform. So you got to put yourself into perspective. And even if you only say that you have 2.3K subscribers, the fact that let's say you get like 1,000 people to tune into that, that's amazing. That 1,000 people are clicking on every video, you know what I mean, or whatever the views are. The fact that like the best way to put this into perspective, and somebody did this to me right when I started YouTube, and it was the greatest advice I ever got, was imagine yourself making your video right now in a room. Say you're only getting 200 views, right? Okay, that sounds like a little, but imagine 200 people in a room right now watching you record your stories. That's a completely different perspective, and it lets you know that that's 200 faces. That's 200 individuals. That's 200 people walking this earth that clicked on that video and listened to you. So it's like you got to put these things into perspective so you don't get, dragged out and feel terrible. Because sometimes I look around and, I will be like, man, I feel like I'm offering a lot, but I don't feel like YouTube is really, I guess, rewarding me. And sometimes I will be like, oh man, whatever. But perspective, look around again and be like, well, what I'm doing, what I'm doing outside of YouTube, on top of YouTube, and everything like that. This is something that a lot of people would dream to do. So, like, what are you even upset about?
That's true. Like when you imagine, say, even like when I first started, like 50 views. That's a lot of people. Like to
Yeah.
just watch and check out your stuff. And,
Yeah, comparison is poison. That's one of my
mm,
like biggest pet peeves in life is comparison. People are like, oh well, this person is like, well, that's great, that's that person. But like, I hate when you see like, I feel like I think it's the biggest poison for people starting when you're like, oh, Swamp Dweller has this, but Swamp Dweller's been doing this for 6 more years than you, and like has uploaded thousands of more videos than you. Like, it's a completely different. You can't compare yourself to that. It's just not healthy. It's just not good. It's just not comparable at this point. All you can do is do what's going to be best for, say, Lady Spookaria. Ludi, I don't know what the Lady Spookaria. You got to do what's best for you, and like focus on what's going on, because like you don't want to be like that person that's who minds other people's business more than you mind your own, because that's just what's going to drag you down, and that's what I see is the downfall of most people who start.
I've noticed that a lot. Like or say like sometimes people who are new come in and they do really well really quickly, and sometimes that can be really disheartening for other people. But it's like, don't look at it that way. Don't sabotage yourself by comparing. Like I've got
Yeah.
friends who started like much later than I did, who are doing much better than I did. But there's one thing that
Oh
they
yeah,
did that
same.
I didn't do. They were very consistent with their content.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends because it just works out for some people, and
Mm.
I can give you advice and tell you what I think would probably make you grow the fastest, and you might see some good results. But in reality, it's just like you can't explain like a great channel. You can't explain a Mr. Creeps. That's a rise that people don't. You don't really see that very often in this type of genre. So like when somebody blows up so fast, you're like, wait, what the heck? Like, sure, I could be like, oh man, I'm jealous and I'm mad, or I could be like, that's dope because
Mm.
that shows me right there that there is nearly 1 million people still in this niche that will subscribe to a channel, even if they are brand new. So I'm just like, that's great for me. That's great for everybody. That's good for the entire community. You can't look at it in a toxic way and be like, oh man, I can't believe they're being successful. Like, me seeing somebody be successful at something shows me that there's potential there for me to capitalize on it as well. Obviously, not copy them, but like,
Mm.
um, say if something's working for somebody else, he's like, okay, how am I going to take that and make it my own, and just put it to yours and see if it works for you. You never know. That might be the thing that suddenly skyrockets too.
That's very true. Like I've noticed that like some people do really well with shorter videos, like the shorts as well. And some people do like really well with like these long videos. I think it just depends on what your audience likes, really. Like some of them will like the true crime stuff, others like the creepypastas, and
Like it all.
so the horror says thanks for the thorough answer.
You're welcome. I try to answer as best as I can. I want to make it make sense. I don't want to be like that guy. It's like, oh, I gotta hide the sauce. It's like I'd rather share it. Make it makes sense, because it is YouTube's confusing. It's a puzzle. You're looking at this dashboard where it's a bunch of numbers and metrics and like condensed words like CPMs and RPMs, and most people are like, wait, what this isn't my car. I don't know what the hell this means. So it's just I feel like it's good to give a thorough answer. I don't want people to be lost in the dark. Be like, well, he said do this, and then you're just like, well, I don't know what the hell that is.
Like, so I'm just trying to find the next question. That's everyone's chatting and having a good time. It's pretty cool. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Marty. Hello, Ceres. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Lady Nopingham.
The great lady herself.
Hello, Cryptobite. Welcome. Let's see. I'm just saying hello. Oh, so Rose asks, are there any particular subgenres of horror you enjoy more than others? You've already answered this one a little bit, but I'm gonna put it out there again, just in case.
Outside of the psychological thriller aspect I said before, and the obvious creature feature that most people know me for, I'd probably have to say like just paranormal. I really like growing up. The first stuff I ever got into was the paranormal and supernatural, and trying to ghost hunt and living in haunted houses myself and stuff, and having all kinds of unexplainable experiences. It's just something that for some reason it just gives me goosebumps. It's like even when I read it today, like if I'm in like even in the middle of the day, sometimes I'll be getting really into this ghost story when I'm doing it, and I just relate to it so much that I start feeling these goosebumps go up my arms. And I'm like, oh man, this is a good story. And those are the videos I'm usually most excited about. But lo and behold, those are usually the videos where YouTube's like, yeah, we're not going to show anybody this video. I was like, oh, I felt so good about the story too.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm like, he'll be working on this story for ages, really getting into every part of it. I'm like, this is going to do amazing. Everyone's going to love this. And Susan says they're going, absolutely not. We are not showing this to anyone. Like, why?
I'm low-key sad Susan's not going to be the CEO anymore.
Oh,
Like,
really?
who am I going to yell at now? I can't be like, yeah, she's stepping down. So I can't be like, Susan. It's going to be like, Mike. And it's like, it just doesn't have the same ring.
I'm so upset
Like,
about
Susan!
this.
I know the meme.
I'm not going to have anything to talk about my live streams now. They're just going to be cancelled. I can't complain about Susan anymore. Ooh, Sarah's is recovering from surgery. I hope you recover quickly.
Fast recoveries, my friend.
Silver has been asking so many questions. Silver's been on point with this. So Silver asks, did your speech, reading, and recording get better performance-wise over the years?
Oh, dramatically, yes. I am not the same person. A lot of those videos have been deleted now, but there's still one or two on the channel of like early Swamp Dweller. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I have a speech impediment. My dad has the same one. Half the time you can't even understand what my dad's saying because it's such a bad slur. But when I was a kid, I had really hard times. I had like a stammer and stuff, and I would just mess up words, and I really had a hard time. And reading out loud, I just sounded like I was absolutely an idiot and brain dead. And that's why I find it funny all the time when people are like, I love your voice. It helps me sleep. My whole family loves it. Like stuff like that. And it just makes me, I hate my voice. I hate listening to it. I'm sure everybody hates their own voice. But for me, I just never thought it would, like, this would be my job. But yeah, dramatically, like, when I first started, I was like whispering because I was scared that people would hear me because I was like literally in my car. So I was like, oh no. So I was like, this. You know, it's like it was really embarrassing and it was really bad, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was doing my best. And for some reason, people were subscribing, and people were like, "Yeah, this guy ain't bad." I don't know why, but yeah, it got greatly better, Silver, by leagues, definitely. Like now, I'd say Swamp Dweller from late 2016 to Swamp Dweller now would probably be like, that's not even me. That's not me at all.
I'm really gonna like dig around and look for your older content now. I'm curious.
Oh, completely different person. Completely different person.
Because I always love what say going and finding someone say their first video and then watching their most recent one and seeing the change. I think that's really cool.
That's the only thing I regret about deleting tons of videos. But when like YouTube went through this thing in like 2018 where like they started demonetizing a bunch of horror channels for no reason and were saying reuse content. So I got scared and nobody really knew what to do. So I deleted like 300 videos, like 6 million. It was like the hardest thing I had to do because I don't even think I had 100K at the time. So it was just like, but it was just like a time where it's like, I don't want to lose everything that I've worked so hard for. Like so many of my friends were just losing it for no reason. So it was just one of those things where all those videos are gone. So it's one of the things I regret for sure is not still having those and not just like unlisting them. But there was people who were unlisting videos and still getting hit. It was just a confusing time.
I heard about that from Terra, like bits and pieces about it. So why do you know why horror narration channels were being targeted?
It was just a glitch in the algorithm when they were applying a new algorithm or something to the algorithm. I think it was like a new I think it was actually the system for demonetization they were applying, and it just was having a lot of issues, and it took them quite a few months, like 6 months or so, to even fix like Southern Cannibal and Terra and all them. Like it took quite a long time for them to get fixed, and I was literally like the last man standing of like that whole era. It was like literally everybody, but like Mr. Nightmare, the obvious channels, and then but like out of like the active, community that was like not like obviously a staple, it was just like, oh, Swamp Dweller is the only one here. Oh shit. It's like we're really in trouble. It's like if you don't let Shrek take over the game, do not let Shrek take over this game.
Oh no. I mean,
It's like you don't want me to be the Mr. Nightmare of this community. Everybody's gonna be like, no Shrek memes, fuck this channel. We cannot subscribe. This isn't Lady Shrekaria.
Oh no, you're gonna give me a new name. A new meme name. I have Lady Pangoria, Lady Spookaria. That was Jensen. First Pangoria was Lucid. There's just so many at this point. I can't even remember them all.
I've heard so many from mine. I'm just like, just call me whatever at this point. I'll reply to it all.
Lone Wolf and Amateur Animator are both asking about you voicing a character or working with them at some point. So how would someone approach you for a collab?
Just shoot me a message on social media or send me an email. Show me the project. Let me know what it's about. And I'll definitely get back to you and let you know, my availabilities and stuff. But I'm always down to do, new things and whatnot.
Oh yeah. Hello, Alternative Night. Welcome, welcome. Oh, I had a question. So, do you think horror as a genre is good for society or bad overall?
I think it's completely necessary because I do think there needs to be an outlet for the things that humans don't understand, and I feel like horror is completely stems from misunderstanding and the fear of what we don't know. So I feel that it's completely healthy for people to have the outlets like that, and especially in a society like we live in, where there's so much folklore that has been turned into pop culture and everything else in between. But I feel like it's just a healthy outlet. I mean, I feel like if people didn't have the outlet to make movies where they were stabbing 100 people, they might actually be running around stabbing 100 people.
That's true. Like I like being able to, like, personally I like being able to create stories with some pretty horrific themes. Like, it's like these things shouldn't happen, but it's nice to be able to like just get it out there and all that sort of stuff. But I'm in agreement with you. Good night, everyone who has left to go sleepy buys. So I've got another question. So, what were some of the hurdles of when you first started?
There was a lot of personal stuff going on in my life. Like I said, I was living in a car, working 2 full-time jobs, didn't really have any time. So basically, when I tell people that like you need to like be dedicated, it doesn't really matter like what's going on in your life. Like if you see something that you think make your life better and that you enjoy and you love doing, you need to make some sort of time. So I would wake up at 3 a.m., my first job making cardboard boxes in a factory. I would get a lunch break at 1 p.m. where I would record a video, and then at 2 p.m. I would go to my next job where I would work then till about 11:30 to sometimes even 1:30 at night. So my lunch break would usually be like 10 there. I would drive over to the nearest like McDonald's or something, connect to the Wi-Fi, upload that video. So that's why a lot of my early videos definitely didn't have the greatest quality, didn't have the best editing jobs and stuff like that, but I was doing anything and everything I could to make sure that I could, put out this content because I knew, I just knew for whatever reason that was going to be what was going to be my bread and butter. Because I've never seen myself like, I guess I was late to the internet. I grew up in a rural area. We didn't even get high-speed internet until I was like 15, 16 years old. I was kind of late to a lot of this stuff, so I learned it quickly. I figured out a lot of this quickly, but I never really understood the whole go viral culture thing. That was never, like, I did a lot of dumb things, and there was a lot of videos that went like viral in my local community of me, like planking on cars through drive-throughs or stuff like that, like back in the day. But I never really understood like what any of that was. So my biggest thing was like, I don't get that and I don't want to be that. So the best thing I know is consistency. So like the biggest hurdle was definitely trying to make sure I could get to that consistency and make sure I could keep it up, especially knowing that my quality wasn't going to be as good as a lot of the other people that were around at the time. And I started at the same time as Southern Cannibal, Being Scared. There's quite a few others. Let's Read started not too long before us, stuff like that. So it was just like I had like there was a lot of real competition at the time. Fierce. A lot of people who are considered as legends today, and so like. And to see where everybody has gone, like what Being Scared has done and what Southern Cannibal has done and Let's Read and all these people, what they've all done is so amazing. So like the fact that I was kind of there amongst them in the early days, I was like, well, I got to find something, So the consistency was definitely my friend.
Nice. So when did you say upgrade your equipment? Like at what point?
The first YouTube check I got that wasn't like $100, like my first real YouTube check. I bought like a crappy XLR mic because I was already using an XLR mic, but it was like a broken one that I used to use when I was touring in metal bands in my teen days and early adult years. And it was like busted up. It was kind of fuzzy. It didn't sound good. And so eventually I was able to get this other one that still didn't really sound good. It was like $30. I think it was like $27 or something like that on Amazon. I bought it and it worked. But eventually I upgraded to like decent ones like a Rode NT1 and all that over time. But I upgraded when I could. It is like quality matters and upgrading and making sure your videos are better over time matters. But you have to make sure you're obviously doing it within your means. And my main thing was like trying to get a roof over my head, trying to get to a safe place to be able to record and, obviously, live a normal life as everybody else. And then immediately after that, that's when I started like, all right, let's try to upgrade this YouTube stuff. And even till today, I've only just recently really started dumping money into my actual like setup, using like the same monitors I had since like 2017, which was maybe 2-3 months after I started. I was still using those exact monitors until maybe 2 months ago. So like if it works, it works. Don't fix what's not broken. But like if there's stuff that you can actually upgrade that's gonna make your stuff better and you can, I would 100% definitely go for that.
Oh yeah, because one of the things like I was told like when I first started, because I used to use like a headset, like my gaming headset, was to like there's a kind of a push to upgrade your stuff with some of the new people as well. Like just like I don't know, like there's more emphasis on that rather than say like uploading consistently.
Oh yeah, and working on your actual narration and making sure everything sounds good, the levels are good. You want to make sure what you're putting out is not only consistent but quality, because people seem to think like quantity and quality can't exist, and I think that's one thing that me and many others have kind of pushed in this. I guess they call it second gen narration, but I think that's what we pushed. When we were coming up, was that you can upload all the time and still have high quality storytelling, high quality, background sounds and all this stuff. It's not an impossible thing to do. It's just something that you have to be willing to put the time into doing. And that's just what I just don't think a lot of people are willing to do that. I think a lot of people see it and they think it's easier than it actually is. I think almost everybody, including myself, when you first see these types of stories, and you're like, oh, that's not bad. They're just reading somebody else's work. You know what I mean? I remember the first time I sat down, completely made a complete ass out of myself, and I have had a whole profound new respect for just even reading out loud, because I was like, oh, okay, I can't just be let's read. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, this is a much harder than it looks. It is a skill to read. It is a skill to voice act and to make the story sound like it came from yourself.
That's true. That like I don't know, what I've noticed is like say like when I'm say practice reading, like before I start like narrating a story, or like it sounds different. Like when it's like as soon as the record button goes, it's like how do I speak? How do I read? I don't know, just make like lots.
I think
of
we all have those days for sure.
Like lots of little random mistakes.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad that I snap edit, so like I edit on the spot. So like by the time I'm done recording the video's done. You know what I mean? Like so I don't have to go back and be like, oh, I gotta listen to myself. I stopped doing that like a year in, because one thing I really hated was listening to myself. So like I started doing these little claps or snaps, so like there's like these blips in the audio, so it's much more obvious. Like you can see like these little spikes. So you just go to those spikes, you cut it, you match it up to where you cut off your sentence, never even know. And it's so much faster. After I'm done with that story, I go back, edit it real quick, boom, it's done, you know? So it's a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and it still keeps that quality nice and high because, you know, if you're on top of it, you can't miss it, you know? And I felt like when I was listening back and editing that way, I was missing a lot more because it's kind of harder to see and differentiate. So like those audio spikes, a lot of people that are starting, if you hate editing audio spikes, do it. Snap your fingers, clap your hands, do anything. Just be sure you get them all, because sometimes I don't, and then it's just like a million comments. Helps you in the algorithm sometimes, but it's definitely embarrassing when they're like, oh, what, you slap yourself, Swamp Dweller? What's happening?
I think
I get those comments sometimes. I'm like, oh, fuck, I missed one.
Oh, no. Yeah, I sort of make a little mouth click noise. Like, that's sort of loudish. And
Yeah.
I was doing a live reading. I started doing it during the, like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I've had to explain that sometimes when I was doing it live. That's why I stopped doing like the live recordings. Like I'll do live readings, but like I stopped recording live just because it was just kind of awkward. It's just like having to explain the clap every 5 seconds to people. I just hate having to repeat, and like that's kind of one thing about, I guess, being a content creator and a streamer especially, is like you always have new people filtering in, so you have to repeat the same thing a ton of time.
You just have it like on top of this, like a little sign saying the claps is for this. I'm fine. I'm not spanking myself or something.
I wish that worked, because like something I also learned real quick in YouTube is like you can spell it out on screen, you can say it in your video, you can put it in the pinned comment, and they're still gonna ask you the same question. Like it's been 6 years, lady, and I still get people saying, where can I send in a story? It's like I say it 3 times a video. It's in the pinned comment, it's in the description, it's on my it's everywhere, absolutely everywhere. It's just like, where do I send in a story? And say, ah.
No, I'm just imagining like, okay, everyone, we have to go to Swamp's channel and comment. Where can I send in a story and put like a little penguin emoji? I'm so sorry.
Hey, I don't mind, whatever. If you want to give me the free comments, I'll take them. But it drives me nuts. Sometimes I just have those days where like the comments, like I don't really care about the comments. Like hate comments don't bother me that much. It's mainly just like the dumb comments. So it'll be like a comment that somebody says. It'll be like the title of the video, right? It'll be like, hang out with Swamp Dweller. Who are you hanging out with? I'm just like, you fucking annoy me. Like that kind of stuff will like trigger me sometimes. I'm just like, it says it right there. And then like you can't say that in the comment where everybody's like, oh, well, you're an asshole. It's like, oh.
Like, you don't even mean okay. Just like, I've answered this 10 times in an hour.
You can't win for trying, that's for sure.
Chat, do you have any more questions? Let's see. So Wicked says, I appreciate your work. Thanks for your ability to tell a story and wanting more.
Thank you for tuning in. I do try my best to tell every story as it did happen to me. I like to try to do first person, you know, like I feel like that's why, especially when it comes to like the exclusives and stuff that I work with authors on, like I want to be able to put myself into each story. That's why like I'll come up with like a plot, a theme, you know, a scenery, a title, all this stuff, and then I'll collaborate with an author and be like, hey, can you help me like make this something that doesn't suck? Because like I can write stuff, but like I feel like my writing skill is nowhere near on par with some of these really talented authors that have popped up over the years. So it's like, let's make the community go round, help them keep their career going, and obviously help me keep mine. And those are the ones that I love the most. But like just putting yourself into each story, especially the ones where people are sending it into, is so much easier when you can relate to it a little bit. That's why I'm so grateful. Like I grew up in really historic houses, being in a cabin that was built in 1802.
That's
and
cool.
just being super haunted. You know, it was a Civil War cabin. We actually found the people who built the cabin buried in the backyard. And all kinds of stuff like that. They weren't murdered or anything. That's just, they just died like in the early 1800s. You know, that's just what they did. But it was just like, so many crazy unexplained experiences I've had over the years, just being a teenager touring the country, you know, in a van with a bunch of other teenagers and metal music and stuff, and just the people you'd encounter through that. Like, it really helped me be able to relate to a Let's Not Meet story or a stalker story or all that kind of stuff, because I've had people try to break into my car when I was living in it and stuff like that, and when I was sleeping in it and stuff like that. So like, I've had like all these weird kind of stories myself, so like living a life I have, it just makes it so much easier to be able to put myself into the stories and make it so it's so much more believable for you guys.
Do you have any, say, a ghost story? Because you said your house was haunted that you'd like to share with us?
Let me think, see if I could think of a quick one that I haven't shared a lot. Because there's some that I share all the time because they're go-to ones. I guess this cab. Speaking about this cabin, this one have so many weird ones. But a quick one is I didn't I didn't know if this place was haunted or if it was just, you know, being an old house or me just being a depressed teenager at the time, because I was kind of going through some personal stuff too at that time. A tumultuous life, angsty teenager, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one day I was in my house, just me and my little brother. And to explain, we have an upstairs part of the cabin, but it just goes into my room. It's the only add-on they made onto the initial cabin. And the stairs are super creaky, super old, and they're not that. There's no way you could get down them without making a noise, you know. And you have to go down this hallway, and immediately you'll pass that on your left, and then you'll pass on the right the original walkway and like dining area of the place, and then again to the left there'll be a bathroom door, and then all the very end it'll be a little kitchen that kind of moves off into the left. So he walked down there, and I walked in right after him, and he said, "Whoa, how'd you get down the stairs so fast?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I saw somebody standing at the top of the steps." And this is where it confirmed for me, because every single time, whether it be the middle of the night, middle of the day, it didn't matter. I would walk past that set of stairs. Out of the corner of my eye, I would see like somebody who had like a top hat and like a trench coat type thing. Not even like a top hat, it was more like a bowler hat, you know, like 1800
Oh.
style type hat they would wear out there. And I was like, "Oh, that's creepy." And there would be times where I stayed up there and like I would have like sleep paralysis, and I would see this guy there, and I would never see him detail, just be a dark shadow, but it would be like a Hat Man type thing. And you know, he was like, "How'd you get down so fast?" I was like, "Zach, you know, I was literally in the room with you. I just came in, and there's no way I'd be able to get down the stairs that fast." That's when I realized, oh, this place is haunted. I'd be hearing footsteps from the crawl space, the little attic area, but it was so small. It's literally like the name crawl space. Like, you can't stand up in there. There's no way you'd be able to walk heavy. And we would just have all kinds of weird stuff happen in that house. But the most prominent one is one I've shared on my story, on my channel a few times. I think even Darkness Prevails has shared it on his channel. There was one night we were playing Manhunt. It was again just my two older brothers and myself. We were home alone. This cabin was set up in the middle of nowhere too, by the way. It's like 45 miles to the nearest highway. That'll take you another 10 miles down the road to get to the nearest town with a Walmart, or any major grocery store, I guess, for anybody who doesn't live in America. So we were truly in the middle of nowhere. Our nearest neighbor was 3 or 4 miles down the road, and they had probably like 200 something acres of land. We had like 300 something. It was actually insane how secluded we were. So that sets the scene a bit there. So it's just us. I'm not exactly sure what we were doing or what led up to it, but we started playing Manhunt. And the cabin's small, so there's only so many places we could go, and we didn't want to go out at night because it was, like I said, there's no light pollution. It's just pitch black out there. Even with the lights on, it doesn't really make a difference. So we're playing around the house. I kind of get bored of hiding in there because it's just, you know, like there's nowhere to hide. So I climb out my window from my room, and from on the roof. The roof is a metal roof, and it's slanted kind of like as like typical houses, I guess it would be, like a kind of like a triangle shape, but it kind of a little bit towards the top so the rain falls off easier, if that makes any sense. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like an arch type shape without it being like it's not like super steep, you know what I mean? I'm explaining this very well.
It's so good.
Almost similar to a barn type shape, but not quite. And I'm up there, and everything goes quiet. It's a nice cool night. Fall is just starting. The cicadas have just left, excuse me. I'm like, thank God, because those things suck. And I was out there just enjoying it, and I realized everything was really quiet. And at the time, I didn't really know what this was. I was 15 years old, creepypastas weren't a thing. I didn't know what the woods going silent meant or what any of that stuff meant. And even the wind was like quiet. It was just weird, and all I could hear was just like slight noise, like slight like branches, or leaves moving in the wind. And then suddenly I hear what sounds like two hooves land on the other side of this metal roof. So it's very distinct, and I'm like, oh hell no. So I listen for a second, and I don't really hear much after that. So I hear my brothers. They're in my room. They're yelling. They can't find me. And I tell my oldest brother, I'm like, hey, come up here. Something weird's happening. Come check this out. Something along those lines. He comes up there and he stands up there with me, and it's kind of quiet again. You hear the wind blowing by, and suddenly we hear again what sounds like something land on the other side of the roof. But it sounds like, the closest thing I can describe it to is goat hooves. We had goats, we had all kinds of stuff, and we used to have to put goats on trailers and stuff all the time, and that's as close as I could describe it. It was a goat foot. But there was nothing there. We couldn't see anything. We couldn't see. There was nothing. We're looking on the roof. There was no way we wouldn't be able to see them. But suddenly, it sounds like these footsteps start running towards us. And then they're like circling around us, going super fast. And we're putting our hands out, and we feel something like ice cold in front of us, but we can't physically feel anything outside of that. It's just really cold. And then it just suddenly runs off and jumps off, and the sound immediately comes back. Like, we can hear tons of leftover cicadas that were there, crickets, all kinds of whatever you would hear, coyotes in the distance. Like, it was like, for whatever happened in that one little square, that little square footage of that roof, everything was muted, and this thing was just running around us, tap dancing in some sort of form, and then just dipped out. And I've always just called it the invisible hoofed creature, because I don't really know how else to explain that story. Like, the story starts off so mundane, ends so mundane, but like, it's just one of those experiences in my life that I've never been able to ever explain. It's just, what the hell happened, like, what ran around us that night.
That sounds like, I think it's called the Jersey Devil, like with the hooves.
Yeah, we were very far from Jersey, but this was in middle of nowhere, East Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
So the nearest city would probably be like maybe Knoxville, Maryville, something like that would be like the nearest probably town, city for all my East Tennessee folks. But yeah, people say Jersey Devil, Goat Man, all kinds of stuff, but like, there was nothing physically there. You know what I mean? That's why, like, I do have like a lot of sympathy for those stories where people talk about, well, I heard these footsteps but I didn't see anything. I was like, well, I've had that exact thing happen, and I literally put my hand out. I was like, if there's something here, I'm gonna grab this mofo. Like, I was actually a little scared, because I thought that it was gonna be some sort of like Harry Potter thing where they have like this invisibility cloak, and I'm gonna grab it, and there's gonna be some freaking demon or something out here. But no, there was just nothing. It was just ice cold to the touch. It was just really weird.
That's really.
Yeah, Rose is correct. Now to share the song of our people for cicadas. Screech! It's just like millions of them. They'll drive you nuts, and they hate loud noises, so they'll attack you, and it's just like millions of them. I had to like drive our riding lawnmower up this 2-mile driveway that we had, and the entire time I was being attacked by millions of these cicadas.
I didn't know they attack you.
Oh, they bite too. A lot of people don't know, but they do. They are mean. They hate loud noises. I'm like, but you're loud.
They're like, only I can be loud.
It's like, there can only be one. It's like, this is some. I was like, where were you when the demon goat thing was on the roof? Like,
they were just like, nope, too scared.
Y'all was real quiet then.
Zach asks, what's your favorite location to read stories about?
Favorite location? Anywhere nature-based, obviously, but my favorite, I have to say, I really love the Appalachians, specifically the Blue Ridge mountain area, because I lived there through my teens, and I have an affinity for the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Brown Mountain Lights and all those cool mysteries out there. But like the Appalachian mountain range, for sure, there's just so much history, folklore, and just strange mysteries up and down that mountain range on the East Coast that like I could probably just make videos for the rest of my life on just that one area.
Nice. I don't know much about Appalachia. Like, I know Fallout 76 is based there, but that's about it.
Lore is deep, basically.
Nice. Nice, I should do a video on stories from Appalachia.
And cicadas, they're like, I'm not entirely sure if I'm right on this, but I know they are closely related to things like grasshoppers and stuff like that, like leaf hoppers or whatever they're called. So like things like that, and I know they're in that type of family, but they're definitely not quite the same thing.
Oh, so Zach also asked, what percentage of the stories do you believe that you read?
That's a hard one, to be honest. I do take most of them with a grain of salt, obviously, because unless there's actual proof and documentation that can come with the story, I don't want to be like, this is true. That's why I don't put true in my titles, just because I want it to remain ambiguous. I always say these are allegedly true by the submitter and stuff, because if I can't prove it, there's no point in me trying to prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I believe what I relate to, I guess. I don't necessarily disbelieve anything, there, like, unless there's something that like really is like a red flag that sets it off. I'm like, okay, that's a red flag sign right there. Like, especially like people who, if you send in a story and you're using a certain type of gun and you say you shot this certain type of ammunition, that doesn't make sense, or like things that, just like small details like that can ruin an entire story for a listener, especially if they know something about said gun or said topic, and whoever is writing the story clearly doesn't know as much as they thought. And that's something that's hard for me, though, is because I don't obviously know as much about a lot of these topics either all the time. So that's where doing, like, if something sounds a little weird to me, a lot of times now that I've learned over the years is just do a little bit of extra research, especially when there's a gun. Anytime like a gun is mentioned or a car is mentioned, I'll Google it and just make sure that these things do have these certain things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Or like if like a certain animal lives in a certain area, because that's happened to me a few times where somebody's like, I saw this type of animal in this area, and then it comes to find out that type of animal doesn't live there.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with guns, like, because I live in Australia and the gun laws over here are quite strict. So a lot of it I'm just there going, I've got no, like, when I'm writing about it, like, I have to ask other people about guns and ammo, otherwise I just don't add guns into some of my stories because I don't know enough about it.
Definitely. You could always hit me up. I know Southern Cannibal is a little knowledgeable, but Uncle Unit 522, he's somebody that'd be great to hit up. He knows like everything.
Hell yeah. Like, I ask,
He's the gun guru.
nice. I just randomly message him, hi, talk to me about guns. Like, I also ask,
I'm sure he'd be completely down, to be honest.
hell yeah. I also ask Maskino and Weekly Creeps about guns too, because they're more knowledgeable than I am. Hello,
Them good old
Cynthia.
American boys.
Yep. Let's see. Laura, an AK-47 shooting a 5.56. I don't. My
5.56. Sheesh. No, when I first started doing this, trust me, I didn't know what like aughts were. So like when I saw 30.6 for the first time, it was like it's 30.06. I was like, the 30.06. And people were just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? It's 30.6. I'm just like, oh, how the hell am I supposed to know that? They're just like, look it up. I'm like, whoa, that's not something, I didn't think that was super obvious to look up. I don't know, dude. Like at the time, I didn't really know anything about guns. I didn't get into them until probably like the past like 2 or 3 years. And even then, I'm not like super gung-ho nerd about it, so like I know enough to be safe and to use them accurately and safely, but like I still sometimes have to like message friends and be like, hey, so
It's like, I need some help.
I need some help for sure.
The general says, every story I have written had guns in it because they're deep wood stories. Nice.
357, not bad, not bad. I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got a 45 ACP. It's a cool little 1911. I've got a 6R P229 Elite 9mm. I've got a freaking Canik, a Danish Canik 9mm. I've got a a Chinese SKS, a Chinese Mac 90 post band, so back from like the early 90s. Got like a AR recently. I've got a shotgun, 12 gauge. I'm out here. We're ready. Typical American. It's like, oh, I honestly was not this guy, and I'm definitely gonna be selling a couple, but like, I just ended up with so many because like I have so many gun friends, and they're always trying to get rid of their guns so they could get new guns, and they just give me such good deals. I'm like, well, I guess if I ever want to resell this, I'll make some money.
I had no idea what you were talking about, what guns they were. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I knew. That's why I was like, oh shoot, I should just let's do this quick. Go.
Just this mad rush. Hello,
Let's get them out. Let's go. General's like, yeah, shoot. Lord knows. No, I love the 1911. That thing. Thought my wrist was gonna break when I first shot that thing. I was like, holy crap. SKS sounds like it's shooting a grenade. It's like a bomb. It's like, holy shit. It's like, can you imagine somebody breaking into my house? Terrible time for you.
It's just all the guns. Like, from what I saw, like, America can, like, you have, like, assault rifles or something?
Depending on the state, but yeah, you can have, well, assault rifle is kind of like one of those, like, kind of bastardized terms because it's not like a real thing. Like, an assault rifle is, like, not like a thing. It's kind of just like a military term. But like, yeah, you can have like, you can't have automatics, you know, we can't run around going, brrr, you know, we don't have machine guns, but like, you can have like an AK, which is a semi-automatic and stuff like that. A lot of states won't let you have like short barrels, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of like rules and regulations, but it's much more lax than like in Australia where they're just like, no, you have to fight with swords. And you're just like, sword up, scallywag. You know what I mean? Like, I don't freaking know. Like,
what was that?
I don't freaking know, you know. I don't know what you guys are in pirate days over there.
Pirate days.
You run around with little freaking pocket knives and daggers in your boots and shit. Like, a freaking alligator pops or a crocodile pops out. You're just like, oh, it's angry. Pull out your freaking pocket knife from your boot and start killing it and eating it or something, right?
Well, I've had crocodile before, but this is all very stereotypical right now. I'm like, all I've had is
Hey, we gotta go. Live by the stereotype, die by the stereotype.
I mean, I suppose. Someone said, as a joke, like, about eating kangaroo. I'm like, I've eaten kangaroo. I eat regularly, technically.
I actually really want to try kangaroo. Like, when I found out you guys, like, or people in Australia actually eat, like, kangaroo, I'm just like, wait, what? And I'm just like, that's a thing? And they're like, yeah, they're a nuisance. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And I'm just like, let's go to Australia, because I've always wanted to box a kangaroo. Let's box them and eat them. Let's do it.
Oh, no, don't box them.
It's like, this animal cruelty, like, PETA's like, no. PETA's on the line. Oh, no.
No, like, well, you go to the supermarket and you can buy it, like, just like any other meat.
Is it like the tail? Like, what part is it? Is it like all of it?
It's like a steak. Like, it's prepared for you.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've eaten like alligator and weird stuff like that. I've eaten like iguana and snake and raccoon and squirrel and all kinds of good stuff, brother. Sheesh, you know.
I've had crocodile and venison.
I would assume crocodile is probably similar to alligator.
I think so.
But maybe not. I don't know. They're kind of the same thing, right?
It tastes kind of like fishy chicken.
Yeah, it's like chewy chicken, you know what I mean?
It's like... Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like, would I eat it if I was starving? Yeah. Would I want to eat it? Would I actually try to eat it again? Probably not. One of those things.
I love like fried gator tail. Like, cut them up into like bites and you fry them and you dip them in some like lemon sauce or some like freaking honey mustard or something. So good.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds really good. It's like, so like,
alligators doesn't have like a fishy taste though. I think that's probably the main difference between that and the crocodile, because they're freshwater, so like they just taste like chewy chicken almost.
I have to try some now.
Oh, it's so good. If you ever make it to the States, we come to good old Florida, we'll get you some gator. We'll go out and we'll catch it fresh in the morning.
Okay, I don't know if I want to do that, but I don't know. Alligators freak me out. Crocodiles, I probably will never actually be around one, so it's like, yeah, whatever. But something about alligators are just, with their broad heads, it's just like, Oh no.
I'm way more scared of the crocs because they're so mean for no reason. I've grown up around gators most of my life, swam by them. Like I wouldn't recommend it, but they seem much more chill. I actually have a really terrifying alligator story when I was kayaking. I could share if you'd want to hear it.
Hell yeah.
But it is like alligators are much more chill. I feel like if my alligator story happened with a bunch of crocodiles, I probably would be dead.
Oh. It's fine.
So basically, we were we were recording one of my many little documentaries I've done over the years, and I was getting some footage of the river at night, and I had the GoPro on my head, and I didn't have the light on because I wanted to get some. I was using I got like this brand new GoPro Hero 9 or whatever when it came out last year, and I had like this cool like night vision setting, and it basically made it look just like the TV shows, and I like this is super cool. So I wanted to get like a dope shot of like us going down the river at night, you know, seeing the life of you know at night compared to during the day because it's much more active in swamps and stuff at night. And like suddenly I'm bumping into stuff and I thought it was debris. I'm like, man, what am I hitting? Like a bunch of logs. I was like, man, it's pretty thick here. My friend was like, yeah. And like I turn on my my headlamp and I see nothing but thousands of little red eyes. And what I was hitting and what I'm bumping into is literally like the mouths and bodies of alligators just floating all around us.
Oh,
They
no.
didn't explode into a feeding frenzy, which is amazing, and it's one of the probably the most terrifying moments of my life, just because I was like, holy shit, I could be dead right now, because like there was the alligator's mouth that was literally like 2 feet from my hand. Like it's not like this was a big kayak at all. Like it was a small 1-person kayak. So it was definitely like they could have flipped me. They could have did anything, and this thing would have been I would have been a goner for sure. But I still say like if this was like Australia and that was crocodiles, I probably would have been a goner.
Look, Australia isn't as bad as what people think.
No, it's just like I'm not. I guess it wouldn't matter if it would be Australia. It's anywhere, I guess. If this was anywhere with crocodiles, because they are much more, from what I understand, much more aggressive and much more territorial.
I have heard that crocs get very aggressive.
And they do. I feel like they're more. I don't know if this was something I heard in a documentary or something, but I heard they're like they're more apt to get in like feeding frenzies and stuff.
Okay, now I'm definitely not gonna go. I'm not gonna go in the water now. It's like, do you want to go for a swim? No, I don't. Nope, not now.
I'm good. Same thing for like Africa with all those giant Nile crocodiles and stuff. Because like the thing that sucks about Florida is we actually have like all of that here now. Like recently, Nile crocodiles have been seen, and I was like, I'm so pissed. I was like, why couldn't you people just leave this stuff where it belonged? These are not pets. Because the problem with Florida is it's one of those environments that is, you know, really good at sustaining a lot of like creatures from like Southern America or Africa or say Australia and stuff like that, because it's a very similar climate. So like they can adapt and live very well, but these species aren't supposed to be here, so they start destroying our local species. Like iguanas aren't supposed to be here. They came from Cuba and they're destroying everything. Same thing with the pythons and the boa constrictors and all that. It destroys, and our local stuff can't compete. There's these toads from Cuba as well. It's destroying, killing all the local toads. Like it just really affects it. So like now there's people dumping, there's chimpanzees, orangutans, all kinds of stuff that have been found out there. Now we're finding Nile crocodiles. It's just absolutely insane.
That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Hello, Izzy.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Hello, Fearsome. Oh, Goblin, why are you like this? Let's see. Harris says, Aussie people always box kangaroos. No, we do. Yeah, you know what? Fine. Yes, we do.
I want to box one. I saw Kangaroo Jack as a kid, and I was like, I was like, I could take him. For sure, I could take him. And then I saw this one video a couple years ago where like this guy like saves his dog from one, and then he like punches it in the head or something. And I was like, dude, that looks like so much fun. And my girlfriend was like, animal abuse looks fun. I'm like, that ain't animal abuse. He started that shit. He threw hands first. You saw him.
Like what?
Like
kangaroos.
This is a quality. This is a quality, baby. This is a quality.
Kangaroos are pretty. Like they'll beat people up sometimes. Like groups of them.
Oh, they're hella strong. They're yoked. Yeah. You see, like, have you seen like they're like actually like buff? And I was like shook when I saw one like flexing that was like in some sort of like, I don't know if it was like a zoo or whatever, but somewhere in Australia that had one in like captivity or something. He was like yoked, and I was like, wait, it's like this mofo's gonna knock somebody out. And then he did. They had a video of him like knocking people out. I was like, and you're telling me I can't go and fight one? All right.
Hello, chatter mate. Sorry, that's like the weird voice I do when my chat is. Let's see. Oh no, so there's a bingo game associated with my streams, and I mentioned Australia, so therefore, or defends Australia, so now one's been stamped off.
Stop defending where you live. It's not that serious. It just makes you look like a banana head. No, I learned that a long time ago because when I was younger, I used to get really upset when people would be like, "Oh, you're from the South, you're racist," and all that by like design. And then I eventually had to realize like it doesn't really matter where you're from. Like having like weird pride from being like from a state or from like a region is kind of strange. It's just like, "Oh, I'm from this area that I don't own any of the land of. I just happen to live here and being taxed to breathe. Yeah, don't you dare talk trash about this area." It's like the logic kind of like dawned on me one day. I was like, why do I care?
I mean, that's a good point, but it's interesting because when I talk to Americans, they always think Australia is this really wild, crazy place.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
That's like all the movies portray it as. Like Hollywood is the bane of America. Honestly, it makes us think of places like because you only really because most of the people like they never leave their hometown. You know, if you really think about it, like a lot of people never leave that tiny town with the same places they see. So they see on a movie like Indiana Jones or some crazy shit like that, and they're like kangaroos fighting people or whatever, and you're just like, oh, that's Australia. And in reality, Australia is probably just like everywhere else.
I think like some parts are very sort of like your country towns and everything. But like we have cities and everything that are like pretty multicultural and everything as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know people, a lot of people from Australia, and they get like really offended if you like confuse them. Say people from like I don't know like the regions. I know say like from like a Perth, and then like you confuse them with somebody from like Melbourne or something like that. And people are like, oh, it's not the same. Like I've had so many of that, where like the distinction of where you're from, like if you call somebody, I don't know if this is true, but at least from what I've seen, like if you say like, oh, you're from Adelaide, huh? I was like, oh no, they're like super offended if they're from somewhere else or whatever. And like it's the same here in America though. I just don't get like why people care so much if people get it wrong where you're from.
I think it depends, like, because I know there's different accents depending on what states you're from. But in Australia, like it's more like I don't know, like I don't really notice like with Australian accents so much. Oh no, don't mention the tiny hands, guys.
Oh no.
Oh no, not again.
You're about to catch these tiny hands. They're tiny but quick.
So like a while ago there was a friend showed me a picture of like a snowman and it had these really tiny, like disproportionately small hands, which is ridiculous. And I just can't. It's just so funny. I'm sorry. People ask questions, so I don't think of the tiny hand. I'm so sorry. Okay, focus. So
the prawn and the Barbie, yeah, of course. And you got to use some damn lemon.
Yes, it's prawn. I don't know why on the advertising campaign. I think it was to bring more American tourists to Australia.
I feel like the tourism perpetuates the stereotypes so much with every country, and I think that's actually more of the problem than anything. Because like anytime you actually see ads in America for like say visiting wherever it is, like Sydney or whatever, like it's always the most stereotypical thing. You just see like the Sydney Theater or something, and then it's like, you know, it's always you know, it's never like anything that's like, oh, come see Australia. It's authentic for them. It's like, hey, you've seen Kangaroo Jack? You know about Steve Irwin? All right, mate, come on down. You know, it's like, all right, shoot, sounds like a good time to me.
And then they come to Australia and they're like, this is nothing like what was advertised.
Yeah, I got bit by a damn spider that almost took my leg off. Got freaking attacked by 13 crocodiles when I stepped off the plane.
It's not that bad.
Crazy. A drop bear came out of nowhere and ate my freaking lunch. Like,
well,
Yowie popped up in my backyard. Stole my grandma. Goddamn.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I literally picture Australia as just like the Outback. Like the Outback is the only thing. It's like Outback Steakhouse. There you go, Australia. Aussie Grill. It says Aussie Grill on the sign. Hey, there we go.
I don't think the founders had ever been to Australia. It's like, yes, Outback
Probably
Steakhouse.
not. No.
It's like, but
I've only been there a few times, and every time I'm there, I'm like, I really hope this is something that's in Australia. It's like the bloomin' onion, and like this is something that's like, I really hope this is an Australian thing.
well, we have Outback Steakhouse in Australia,
Is
so
it
it
is it
is.
a is it Australian food there? Because I'm assuming it's gonna be a different menu there than here.
Well, we've got the bloomin' onion.
No, at least we got something. So is that all authentic Australian food? What's authentic Australian food outside of like some kangaroo,
I don't know,
some
like
wombat? You guys got wombats?
I've never had wombat, but like fish and not fish and chips, but like oh yeah, fish and chips with like chicken salt. When I've referred to it as being chicken salt, like no one knows what chicken salt is. Like outside Australia.
Oh, you guys have that gross ass Vegemite.
Yes, oh the Vegemite, yeah.
Is that do you eat that? Is that something that people really like there? Is that like a thing? Is like or is that
I've
just like something that some people like?
it's one of those things where some people like, but you have to eat it properly. If you don't eat it right, it's disgusting. But
I just usually see people eating it like Nutella or something. I'm just like, I don't know.
no, no, if anyone does that, be be very scared of those people because ooh, that's it's got this really weird taste and really weird smell as well. It's just like
I did like a spoonful of it for a challenge stream one time for charity, and yeah, I literally put the cat back on, opened my window, and chucked it into the dumpster.
Blame you.
I was like, yeah, I don't care that I waited 2 months to get this from Australia. This was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
So what you need to do is put it on toast and put like just the smallest amount on it, and then put like cheese on top and like melt it. And if you have it that way, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, the smallest amount, so you won't taste it. You know, the cheese overpowers.
Basically, yeah. So it just adds a little bit of a little, I don't know, bad taste, but you're so
Like,
appreciative of the cheese. You're just like, yes, yes.
why do you do this to yourselves?
I don't know. Being an Australian is a weird experience.
Sounds terrible. It's like, yeah, I mean, at least we appreciate the cheese and the bread more.
It's not that bad. No, it is actually quite nice, I swear. So what did you do? Like, did you just like stick your spoon in, like get this like heaped spoonful and just?
To be honest, I Googled it for 5 seconds before the stream, and I was like, Vegemite review or whatever. I just saw some Australian bloke standing outside, you know, looking super Australian. And he was like, all right, mate, this is how you eat Vegemite. And he literally just dumped it in his mouth. And I was like, all right, well, I guess this is
Oh.
me. And I did the same thing, and I found out right quick that this is not me.
I wonder how many Americans were fooled into eating Vegemite like that because of that video.
I've seen so many different like people eat Vegemite in like the same way you would put like cheese on a cracker or like cream cheese on a bagel, and I'm like, okay, that seems. I've seen like exclusively like on toast, right? But with nothing else. The way you mentioned it makes more sense. But I've assumed people would like Nutella, spread that shit on the toast, take a big bite, like, so good. I was like, you lying.
It's
I
like
was so bad. I knew it was gonna be bad because it smelled like literal like butthole, but like, oh my god! Like I cracked it and like that whiff came up to my nostrils. Like it was like that freaking face from SpongeBob when he had like the bad freaking breath and everybody was dying. That's literally my face when he had the ugly or whatever.
oh yeah. Laura says swamp interviews lady. I mean,
Yes.
dun,
I
dun.
mean, essentially, it's just a conversation, you know, right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's like people just listening in on us, like having a VC. And like asking random questions sometimes. So,
Yeah, me showing my ignorance about Australia.
it's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure sometimes people are like gently teasing me when I talk about Australia, and they're like, I thought it was like this. But
It should be.
so what do you think of when you think of Australia? Besides the outback.
I think of Mr. Cruel because one the
yeah.
first real deep dive thing I really did like as like because I've done like true crime stuff before, but like I never really undertook a topic like I did for that. And it was like a 30-minute long video, and it was just like a 4,000 word script that I typed up by myself, and just like kind of got lost down a bunch of articles and rabbit holes, and found a bunch of cool theories that I thought kind of made sense and like were kind of also cool at the same time. And made this really epic like 31-minute video. And that's just kind of like I spent so much time learning how to say Melbourne and not Melbourne and all this other stuff. And I just remember so many Americans trying to roast me, and then having my entire Australian fan base unite and have my back in the comments. It was like felt so good. It was like, it is Melbourne, you fucking idiots. It was like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, like I've heard someone say Melbourne. I'm like, what?
Oh gosh.
What?
See, there's a place called Melbourne where I live in Florida, and it's not far, but like it's spelt exactly the same way. So I feel like Americans are like, well, it's this way here. It's like, well, it's not this way there. So
Yeah. Are you going to be doing some more Australian crime?
Oh, definitely. If I find something that's interesting. I've been taking a break from a lot of that kind of stuff just because this time and just want to focus on other projects right now. But when I come back, if there is some good, stuff that people can, send my way from Australia, I'd love to cover some Australian crime and stuff. I'm doing some Australian horror stories, so maybe if there's a case, I can write up something and put it in that video.
Oh yeah. I have to think of some. Like, there's Ivan Milat, the backpacker serial killer.
I think I've heard of that one. Yeah, I think I've heard of that one. That's a good one. There's a lot of real interesting ones from Australia for sure.
We lost a prime minister like in the ocean, and no one cared. I don't think that much. And then they made a swimming pool named after him.
Yeah, at least you got a swimming pool named after him. All right.
It's like, what the?
All right.
So Fearsome would like to know if you're going to make more chips.
The person that I was partnered with that kind of MIA'd. I do think they're coming back soon. We did have a convo, so maybe chips will come back. I do want to do that again. That was fun, but it's really hard to do those types of things. Like food is a tricky thing, and you can't really do it like if I were to do it like in a super official like larger capacity than just doing a small hand-made batch of like 100 or 200 bags at a time, I would have to go through like FDA regulations and food health safety and all that stuff. And that's just stuff that like I'm not really trying to do personally. So that's why I'm kind of trying to focus maybe on hot sauce soon. We'll get that out. We did have plans for that, but unfortunately my partner kind of fell through on me there. So it's been a slow on developing that, but I do have plans to have, a new chip flavor coming soon, and maybe some hot sauces and stuff. But I really enjoyed doing that. It was a lot of fun. It was different. I didn't see anybody else really doing it, and I was completely taken aback by the support behind it, though. I didn't think that many people would care.
Yeah, that's really cool. So General just asked if you have your own brand of hot sauce yet.
I do have a flavor of hot sauce that has come out, but they're not for sale anymore, unfortunately. But I do hope to find a new distributor and a new supplier, a new partner in that kind of sense, and hopefully we can have a more consistent outflow of that. But as of right now, I don't. But I do have 2 hot sauce flavors. I have a duck sauce flavor. I've got a barbecue sauce as well. And I even have like a special challenge sauce. It's like this black hot sauce. And basically, if you can beat the challenge of that hot sauce, we'll send you a free shirt and all that. And promote you guys on the Instagram for the brand and all that. But that's on hold for now. But that'll come back again very soon, hopefully. Maybe before the end of the year. We'll see.
Excellent. Sock Goblin, I'm gonna start a fight with Lady. Marmite is better than Vegemite. I don't like Vegemite, but let's do this, Sock Goblin. Let's fight over. That keeps going. Yes, fairy bread is a thing in Australia.
Sounds legit. Most shocking thing about Australia that I've ever learned is that koalas are not cute, but rather big assholes.
They are. They're also.
Useless.
Yeah. They
They actively nuke themselves.
Yep. Yep. So like, if you give them water, don't give it to them in a bottle because they can hurt themselves somehow. You have to like cup your hands and like let them drink that way. They're also really just
No,
sometimes.
retardedly stupid. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that, but like stupidly stupid, like so stupid, like so stupid that like the one thing they eat is the one thing that's most poisonous to them.
Yep. And they want nothing else.
So it's just like, okay, well, all right. So you guys could eat some celery or something. They're like, nah, dog. This eucalyptus right here actively makes us literally essentially die and fall asleep for many hours in a comatose state to where a lot of times we will fall out of trees. Yeah.
Yep. It's they had to live in a very harsh environment, but it's like there are other things you can eat. There are.
Watched this whole video where like it was basically just like this evolutionary video talking trash about how like it was because like somebody asked like this paleontologist was like what's the one animal that like its evolution is so dumb that it just infuriates you? It's all about the koala. It's like this animal's been around for so long and has evolved to somehow just be stupid and even more stupid with like every passing like generation. It's like I don't understand.
They really didn't do too well in the bushfires that were happening last year, I think it was. Yeah, last year. Like the bushfires just devastated a lot of the environment, and then there was the flooding that followed this year as well. So
yeah, they can't win, you know.
Yeah,
God dang.
And more companies are trying to like chop down their homes as well. So they're really not doing too well. Fortunately. This wasn't a very happy topic in the end, I'm sorry. Welcome, Herazy.
Very happy one, yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have any more questions for Swamp? While we have him here. So what's your next video going to be on?
Let me see, I can tell you right now, actually. YouTube Studio. It's gonna be, I don't even freaking remember. Massachusetts horror stories. So, horror stories from Massachusetts.
Hey,
We're
Weekly.
almost done with all the states.
Nice. Welcome, Moz Army. Welcome, welcome. So, oh my god, Sock Goblin, why? Sock Goblin asks, well, who would win in a fight? A sexy Chupacabra or a stone vamp? What the hell?
I mean, by the way, the stanky leg is performed by the sexy chupacabra and by the tone of the stoned vampire's voice on this given interaction, I would probably have to say that the LGBT-friendly Bigfoot would win.
Nice. Nice.
Hopefully that answers everybody's questions.
Wait, what was the question, Weekly? I'm confused.
A question is a question. I mean, that's true.
I told you my chat can get rowdy sometimes. Usually it's my mods causing the issues. Sometimes. What's happening? What? Weekly, why
If
are
only
you...
everybody...
Oh, sorry.
So if only I could play some of these good sound effects I have here.
What sound effects do you have?
I have a signature one that you probably have seen multiple times in the chats with the dog doing.
I have seen that
You
one.
know, what's the dog doing? Well, what is it doing?
Do you have a dog? I think you do.
Yeah, I have 2 dogs. Well, I don't know if you can call them dogs. Kind of More like
Ooh,
rats,
you wanna show us
like large
pictures?
ferrets.
Your dogs? I can put them on the screen.
Let me see if I have any quick pictures. Let me see. Maybe Instagram will have some.
Excellent, excellent. Sock Goblin, when are we getting the potato bake recipe? Look, that is a secret. That is a sacred recipe. I will not be giving it out. Except to Adam, probably in another 10 years. Laura, I'm a perfectly behaved cat. Laura. So feel free to ask Swamp any questions while he's looking up his doggo pictures on Insta.
So there's one. I don't know if I have any of the newer dog on here yet.
Are you okay with that being posted on your
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking. Don't want to be like,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's on Instagram anyway. They can find it if they wanted. I don't think I have one of the new one. Maybe it's on my girlfriend's. Let me see. I don't take a lot of pictures like that. I'm not really the big picture guy.
so good. And I'm fighting with
Like,
my
how are you gonna
layers.
remember things with my brain?
Don't mind me just fighting with the layers. It's my life now. I complain about my layers every stream.
OBS is the bane of my existence. Like trying to make things work correctly half the time. It's just like, you click one thing, everything else stops working. It's like, oh no.
Like I broke it. Okay, so it should be on the screen now. That is a lovely photo though. Absolutely.
I cannot find one of the other one, but eventually I will send you a picture of him. Unless, wait, I can just send it to you through my phone, I think. Through Discord.
Yep. What are you
200
talking about?
IQ Swamp here.
So Dan is asking, where do I get the hot sauce challenge?
They are currently not for sale at the moment. I have to find a new supplier. And when that happens, we'll probably put them out. I might start just making them myself, but it's a long and time-consuming process.
How long does it how hot are they in comparison to other hot sauces?
I've got a couple. Here's a quick little video of the new dog. I've got so there's one that's more like it's hot, but it's not like overwhelming. It's more like flavorful. It's more of like something that you can use as like a daily driver. Then we've got one that's much hotter for like the spice heads, and then we got the challenge sauce, which is just like redonkulous. And then we've got like other sauces as well, like I said, like barbecue and stuff. But I just don't have a solid partner right now in the way of like getting things out and making it happen on a more, I guess, consistent basis.
Nice. I haven't worked out how to like put video capture on my my knowledge of using OBS is very, very simple. Like I haven't worked out how to put gameplay on or anything yet, so it's just like the most bare basic system or setup.
Yeah, I'm always fighting with like screen captures, window captures, image captures. Like half of it works, half of it doesn't, and then I don't know. It's just a nightmare to get things to work right. But usually, once I get it right, I just lock everything in and just don't mess with it ever again.
That's what I've done too with like the background music. It's by Tanner. I've just got it in there. I will never delete it. I'm scared in case I mess it up and like never be able to use music on my stream ever again. Or something weird like that. So Adam says the hotter the better when it comes to hot sauce.
I used to be a big spice head, but I did so many challenges for charity over the years that like kind of burnt my stomach out a bit. So now I'm slowly having to like rehabilitate myself back into like the heavier side of things when it comes to spices. Ate way too many ghost peppers and habanero to the face. So
Oh
now I'm just
no.
like, I gotta that back up. Capsaicin junkie.
Oh, I'm not very good with spicy food, like, at all. It's just like, So listening to that, it's like...
I'm a big fan of it.
Eris says...
Thai food, all of it. Ooh.
I've never had Thai food.
You're missing out, man.
We
gotta go to Thailand. We gotta go invade MCT's kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get some real Thai food made for us. Some green curry. Make it Thai spicy, double Thai spicy, because they're kind of weak on the spice. Sorry to talk trash, but come on, Thailand, step it up.
Oh no, I've heard Thailand's food spicy though.
It is pretty spicy, but back in the day, I was eating like habaneros for breakfast.
I'm gonna have to like go over there with like these massive jugs of milk just to be able to like eat. Like,
Maybe I feel like it incentivizes you to eat faster, because that's one thing I've noticed is like a lot of people who are like spice lords eat fast, and it's like just get it down quick. But that was the bane of my existence, and where I started getting sick is where like I would chew real quick and then swallow, and that's the worst. I felt like, because then like your stomach has to break down more. So I felt like when it comes to actual peppers and making yourself suffer more, chewing it to like the extreme and then spitting it out is, I feel like, a much more painful experience, because your mouth gets everything. Because when you swallow, a lot of it just goes down to your stomach, and that's when you start getting sick.
I'm not encouraged to eat spicy food now. It sounds like no matter what
I don't encourage
it's
anybody.
torture.
It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun. Like, I tried to come back into it a couple streams ago on Twitch, and I got sick after 2 ghost peppers, or Carolina Reapers, excuse me. And I used to be able to do like 6. So like now I'm like, oh, I can't even do 2. But those also just taste so gross. The taste of those just make me want to like die.
Like it's just I'm not good with spicy. Not good with spicy at all. Yep.
Same, Adam. I grow my own peppers. I've got serrano pepper bushes. I've got some sweet small peppers right now. I've got all kinds of bell peppers. I do have a habanero plant as well. I love that little thing. But I don't eat those as much. I used to do like diced habanero in my eggs and stuff. Get you waking up real quick.
I imagine it would. God.
Then you go out for your early morning run. Whew. Let's go.
You're running from the pain.
Yeah, running from the pain. Exactly. I'm running from my demons.
I mean, your demons that you consume.
The demons that I inflicted myself with.
That too. That actually sounds like a good story.
Honestly, there's so many times where like the stream would end. I was like, why do I do this to myself? It's like, it's for charity. And it's like, you know what? There's gonna be a point to where my stomach's just be like, fuck charity, dog. Like, I gotta pit me first. It's like, oh damn.
You know, like I remember watching one of your streams, and you were eating. I can't remember. It was something crazy special. You're like, ooh, that one's a little hot. And then you're just like, okay, next. Oh, another one. And like, your audience were just like, just donating, like, yes, suffer, have the spicy food.
When I first started that, I did not think it would be like, I don't know why I undervalued it for sure. I made it way too cheap and way too accessible. And I just, for some reason, I did not think that like 200 people in a stream would like donate to something, to just see me do something so stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way somebody's going to pay $10 for charity to see me eat like a bug or something. And like, they did it in droves, and I think that's what ultimately accelerated me getting sick and stuff, just because it was just like, holy crap, we got like 200 people in a stream. And I'm like, it's for the freaking it was for the greater good. And you know, we got to donate, like, I think that year we donated like $11,000 or something. I was like, it felt real good to be able to raise all that money and give it to charity and stuff. But at the same time, it was like, oh my God, I'm so tired of like, in the morning, I use the bathroom and everything's on fire.
Oh no. Yeah, I imagine that would be the case. The Christian says, yeah, we went after him relentlessly on those old streams.
Oh my gosh, it was bad. I was pretty tough for a while. I was a juggernaut there for a minute. I was like a tank. You couldn't really get past me. And then eventually, you know, the body catches up with you, and it's like, all right, bro, It's like you gotta stop trying to prove a point here, brother. We get it. You vape. We get it.
So Laura
You
says,
smoke weed, bro. We get it.
Laura says, if you are on Twitch, oh, they will. Twitch viewers love to punish the streamer. But
Oh yeah, they're certified sick. They're sick in the head.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Swamp? Well, we've got him here.
Gotta get them omeprazoles. Yeah, for sure. Honestly, that stuff would probably help me. I've just kind of got to a point now. It's like, well, if it's not good for the health, maybe I should chill out. But like at the same time, I love peppers because they are like they're like superfoods. They have a lot of antioxidants, and they've got like vitamin K and vitamin A and all these really good things for you that you don't get from other foods. And the capsaicin and all that can be like super good for all kinds of stuff like inflammation and whatnot. So it's like there are upsides to it. It just definitely better ways to do it than the way I've done it.
Yeah, I'm just in the thought of eating spicy food in general, just like no, I can't do it. So Alternative
Definitely.
Night says, how did you come up with the name Swamp Dweller if that hasn't been asked already?
I believe we answered this earlier, but a quick synopsis is I lived in a swamp.
That's very straight to the point.
It cut out the fat of the story.
Yeah,
But yeah, the quick synopsis is I had a podcast years ago called Swamp Dog Chronicles where I interviewed people who like Vic Cundiff from Dogman Encounters and pretty much everybody who was ever on the Animal Planet Monster Quest show and just all kinds of people like that, and then other people who would I interviewed the first ever alleged UFO abductees and stuff like that, and eventually I kind of got bored with that and wanted to move into a different direction. And I had a friend who had a pretty popular channel at the time called King Spook, who was like, maybe you should try doing something similar to me. And, I kind of tried it out a bit. Didn't like it at first too much, but then eventually I found my own way of, narrating cryptid stories and stuff like that people would send the podcast, but they wanted to share but not come on the show. And, it kind of just turned into this. And I wanted to still keep homage and, kind of that whole swamp thing going. So I had to make it more of like a host first person type deal, so Swamp Dweller kind of made sense. And it's also based off of a Seminole Creek tale that I was told by a Seminole Creek woman that I used to work with, and as like a swamp protector. So that's where like the character itself comes from, but the name is kind of a little bit more simple. Just I live in a swamp. I wanted to keep the swamp theme, but I had to have like a character. So Swamp Dweller kind of, here we are.
nice. Sock Goblin. The Sock Goblin asks, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
At least 13. At least.
So will you be doing any more of those charity streams? Oh, not necessarily with the hot sauce and hot stuff. Spicy stuff.
Probably. I wanted to do one for the whole Ukraine situation, but I've just been so busy and haven't really had the time to think up of something that would be, like appropriate that wouldn't also like tear me up. But yeah, I do plan on doing more stuff for forest preservation and environmental protection and stuff like that. It's just more of like I try real hard to make sure that we're donating to causes that are nonprofit, that don't use any of the money that they are obtaining to pay payrolls or anything like that. That more than at least 98% of the proceeds are going towards the actual cause. And there's not many like that, but there are a few out there, and like the Rainforest Project and a couple cool ones like that. I do have plans to do something soon to help people in like the North and South Dakota areas and the Michigan areas that don't have clean water and stuff, because I think it's insane that like
It's
people
still going
don't
on.
have clean water.
It's still.
But yeah, all that stuff is still going on. Yeah.
When did it start?
A lot of places.
Oh, sorry.
I think it always has kind of been a thing, especially places like on reservations, like especially like the native reservations and whatnot. Like they don't have like the same structure as like a normal city would. Like they kind of run their own thing in a sense, you know, but at the same time are still under that jurisdiction to a sense. But like since that's kind of the case, the government doesn't really give more than, you know, they don't really care. Just like they don't care about anything else. So the
Mm.
pipes are super old. There's a lot of lead poisoning, a lot of just, you know, not good water.
Yeah, I just still can't believe that's still going on. You know, like water's so important for like everything. Like you can't do anything without water.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's insane to think that like it's not just like a human right to have clean water.
Yeah, it's I don't understand like just not having clean water available. It's strange to me. It baffles me. Adam says, I I think, sorry, live in the swamp as well. That's probably why I'm hooked on the stories that Swamp Dweller submits. Keep up the good work, brother.
Appreciate you. Stay safe out there in the bayou, brother. Don't let none of them bog creepers get you. Them bog bunnies. Watch out, buddy.
The lady in black says, have you two explained yet how you know each other?
I don't know if there's much of a story. Kind of just bypassing, you know, saw a lady popping up in more like the Twitter circles and um pretty much, I'm pretty sure I just kind of found you through MCT when I kind of found MCT, which was probably just somebody randomly tagging MCT and something that I was a part of. Because every so often I'll just kind of like notice somebody new, I'll check out their channel, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I like what they're doing. And then I'll hit them up and be like, yo, let's collab. It's kind of essentially how that went.
Yep, pretty much. Like, Twitter is a place where a lot of the narrators will talk to each other. And I've noticed a lot of collabs get organized on Twitter as well.
Good to see some of my Twitch friends in here, Christian and the cheek separator. Sheesh. The usernames on Twitch always make me laugh. Like, they're so good.
I haven't spent much time on Twitch. Like I've mainly been trying to like work on YouTube as a platform, but I don't know. I've heard that streaming is much better on Twitch. Like it's much more stable.
For sure. It's just a platform that's built for just that, you know? And for me, like I tried it a couple years ago, didn't really like it, and I'm having a better time now because I think it's mainly because like I've already obtained a lot of the goals that I had set out back then for YouTube, and I still have goals now, but like I've like I said, I've made a routine. I've figured out how to compartmentalize things. I've figured out how to schedule in doing more than just one thing. So like, it's just more like now I have the time to be able to try to build a new platform, and it's just fun to kind of start over. That's something that
Mm.
I've always loved is like an organic growth. I love like that's why like you don't really see me like spamming my social links everywhere because like I'm sure I could have tons of followers again on Twitter if I wanted to, but I'd much rather just see like how my Twitter grows by me just existing. Like I think it's kind of cool that like the only thing I do on Twitter is kind of make jokes and you know we already have like however many followers. So I think that's cool. I like to watch that kind of stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah, I like because I've got an ASMR channel now too, and it's interesting watching it grow. But there's also like when I upload on it, there's a lot less pressure because it's not monetized. It's still really small. It's just like yeah. I mean my
It's
main
like an outlet.
yeah. It's, plus it's not
Just do
horror.
something different.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's one thing that like I struggle with for a long time is like I have a complete different personality outside of horror. I really love comedy. I love, you know, all types of other things. And I was like, you know, I can't there's has to be a place where I can be that without the pressure of being, you know, swamp dweller. Because like YouTube is a very fickle and unforgiving place, unfortunately, where it's like, if we're live, you know, and you're not doing that thing you're known for on YouTube, you're going to be getting a lot of flack for it in the comments, like, oh, nobody cares, and get a bunch of dislikes or hate for no reason or unsubs or just unnecessary comments because you're doing something you like. So it's just nice to be able to kind of not have that at all be a part of something, and it makes it much more enjoyable. And then also, you know, being at a point where I'm at now to where I don't have to worry that like, oh, if I don't, focus that day on YouTube, I'm gonna, my downfall's coming. It's like, oh no, I can take a day or two, a week even if I wanted to, and just kind of focus on other things, because I put in 6 years over here. I think I, have that longevity now to where it's like if I step back a little bit, it's not gonna be necessarily the end of the world.
I like that. Like, there's lost my trail of thought. God damn it! I noticed that when I started doing my live streams, that I don't think people realize quite how kind of bubbly and kind of dorky I am. Unless they follow me on Twitter, then they know I'm just a bit of a crackhead. Just like my jokes are just really weird and just silly. But there was a lot of like, "You're not how I expected you to be." I'm like, I'm sorry. But
Yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of people don't expect me to be the way I am, or the personality I am, just because they're like, oh, you do this scary content. But I always found that kind of weird and ignorant in a sense, because it's like, I can have interest in horror movies and also find things funny, or like music, or be a human being.
yeah, I think sometimes what happens is people get an idea of what they think you are, and then like, if you deviate away from that, it's like, how dare you, sort of a thing.
Oh yeah, there's that's the one thing about anonymity I think that sucks too, is that people build this they build this image of you in their head, and if you don't fit that image that they built, it's going to be a massive letdown for them, and they take it out on you, even though it's entirely not your problem or fault. But that's why I tried to always kind of be like, I've never like necessarily hidden my face, I've never hidden or anything like that, but I've never like made it like a focal point that like, hey, this is me.
Yeah, like I've noticed that like you've always sort of like shown your face, like either during your live streams or just like on Twitter and socials or whatever. But like I'm trying to like keep my privacy for as long as possible, because I've had some real creeps just be weird, just really weird, and at times kind of abusive even at times, so I've had to like smack people down. But it's just privacy, like, I like the idea of being able to say go out somewhere and have people just not know who I am. But I have had some people go, "You sound really familiar." I'm like, oh, okay. I just have one of those voices.
I've had that a few times.
Yeah.
I've had people like recognize me a few times, but it's not even remotely common to the point that where it's like, oh, I nobody can know what I look like, But like for the female perspective, I already can see, so many more creeps. And even from my perspective, I've had like guys and girls do real creepy things to me. So I'm just like, I can only if it's happening to me, I can only imagine what's happening to, somebody else on the opposite gender, especially one that somebody would perceive as attractive or whatever, like, oh, like her voice is hot, so she must be hot or whatever, like they get really creepy and obsessive, and people just don't have boundaries is the issue.
Yeah, I also found that sometimes, like, people want to, like, engage with you all the time if they think you're available for it as well. It's like, I'm sleeping or about to sleep. Good night,
oh yeah, that's
Adam.
where I learned quickly you gotta like turn off a lot of those like social media notifications, or like on my phone, like at like 9 p.m. usually it goes into like a sleep mode, even if I'm not asleep, so I don't like the rest of my whole night's not just like bing 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 bing, because like I feel like especially once you start, like it's cool the first time you like hit like a big explosion on a website and you're getting all these like notifications like, oh man, all these Instagram likes or something are coming in. But after a while, like it starts sucking all your time away. Especially like, say like you have kids, right? And say you have an hour, you're spending like an hour or two with your kid, and you get say 60 messages an hour. That's probably about a minute per message you're going to spend. That whole hour was wasted on you paying attention to your phone instead of being in the moment with your children or whatever else, So for me, it's just like, you got to like cut that out so you can like focus, and again, the compartmentalization of everything. And the privacy aspect is huge too, because you want to be able to cut off that work from personal. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the stream with like the hardest thing about being a YouTuber is like that balance, being able to, because like a lot of people work from home, yes, but when you work from home, that also becomes your work. You don't have a place to escape, you don't have like Like when you go to Walmart and you leave Walmart at the end of the day, you're gone. You know, you don't sleep at Walmart.
Yeah.
But like when you sleep at home where you work, especially if you work in your bedroom, like you don't have that safe space, that personalization, that it becomes completely depersonalized, in my opinion. So it's big mental health, big for your security, and it's big for like making the best of your time and really enjoying it.
I think so too, because for a while, like the line between sort of like my work, like YouTube type stuff, and my my family life and everything was sort of like blurring way too much. And so I'm gonna have to like take your some of your advice and be like, okay, no, like set sort of times and yeah, turn off notifications. Just to
Yeah,
get that
it gets
space.
hard because we form habits, and habits aren't necessarily bad, but habits form addictions, you know? So like, and all of us as humans are definitely addicted to our phones and social media and all that kind of stuff, especially when you're a YouTuber, because you want to constantly be in the know, especially with how YouTube is, where your channel can just be deleted for no reason out of nowhere. So like, it's one of those unhealthy things where we're like constantly like checking just to make sure it exists.
That's true. Like also like I like being able to like look at my channel and be like, yeah, that's me. Or like listening to my
So yeah,
stories.
it's
I know
me,
it's
all
me.
right. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I like to comment in people's live streams or something just to see the check mark. Like, yeah, that's me. Look at me. Yeah, big PP energy. Watch out, everybody.
Someday I will get my check mark. Someday.
We'll get there one day.
Yep. It was about one when I'm like getting really close. I'll be like maybe like 10 subs away. Like YouTube, be like, yeah, you have to increase it now before you get your check mark.
Oh, that would definitely be the luck.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to get check marks in much easier ways. Like when Google Plus was forced upon everybody years ago. Like if you got like 1,000 followers on Google Plus, you could get verified. So that was a way people were kind of bypassing it back in the day. So like back in the day, I'm sure you probably saw channels with like 200 subs verified, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? But like that was how they were doing it. And I think a lot of those channels got kicked off the verification thing eventually. But like, yeah, that was like a way people used to get around it and get the check marks. I tried so hard for that, but the moment I got that 1,000 follower mark on Google Plus, they literally removed Google Plus. I was like, damn it! I was like, I'm gonna be the only narrator verified under 100K. Let's do this. And then they took it. I was like, God damn it!
Hey, Derek.
Susan.
Yes, yell at Susan. I just always imagine Susan like just watching, like when I'm on a live stream, just waiting for me to say the wrong thing to demonetize me. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I know Susan obviously has better things to do with her time, but like, or I imagine some intern like listening. Particularly when I'm on the stream with MCT and we're just giggling for like hours about the most random things. I just imagine an intern sitting there listening. I rambled.
I could see her like stumbling upon Swamp Dweller, like, you're banned, bud. It's just like banned. Like, what the hell is this shit?
Like the last thing she does before she resigns, like, I'm just gonna ban all the horror narrators. Just boom. It's like, why not? Please don't do that, Susan. Please. Knock on wood.
She's like, I never really liked the Shrek series anyway. Oh no.
Alright, so are there any further questions? I think we are currently at 2 hours and nearly 30 minutes. That's quite a long time. Do you have any... I
feel like this has been productive.
I think so too. We've covered quite a lot of topics. Is there anything you would like to say to the chat?
Thanks for popping in. Thanks for showing some love. If you're a swamp dweller yourself in the swamps with me, I appreciate you. If you're just discovering me now, what's up, brother? Or, I mean, even if you're a sister, you're a brother to me too. And, it just is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot
with that.
It's
like, spot like this.
Yep, that's what I do. That's
say
really good.
something to the people. It's like, my great people.
It's like, say it.
If you vote for me. It's like, I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
what
what
I
the
do.
dog doing?
Dun, dun. It would have been cool if I had temporarily like changed the thing. I know, I thought. Any final questions or comments for Swamp Dweller?
I say we make a petition to get people to sign it, so we switch the Lady Spookaria to Lady Shrekaria or Swamparia, and then like the
Oh no.
thing is like her character but painted green with Shrek ears.
You know, that's bound to happen at some point. It could be like a Twitter poll or something.
I'm saying 5K special right there.
You know what? I'm down. I'm supposed to do a penguin one as well. Wait. Hang on. I need to make a note of this.
Shrekaria, there you go. Shrekaria. That
And
sounds like some fancy like name that like some Middle East, no, excuse me, some middle-aged princess. I don't know why I said Middle East. Some middle-aged princess would have in like the medieval times, in the Middle Ages. They're out here. It's like
also, Laura will not let me forget that, by the way. So it's definitely going to happen. So Derek asks, on each of your YouTube journeys, the first thing you had to learn the hard way.
It's a good question. First, to learn the hard way. Man, there's so many. I could give like a lot of simple answers, but I'm trying to think of a good thing that I learned that was like, oh shoot, that was really stupid of me. Honestly, I would just say the basics of audio editing. I would say that was not as natural and upfront or obvious to me. I used to like I didn't know like anything about like noise reduction or anything like that. Like I said, I was using like this busted up Shure SM58 that I used, my metal band touring for like 2-3 years. It was beat up. It was buzzing. It didn't sound good. And for whatever reason, the biggest thing that I would probably say the first thing I fell on my face where people used to make fun of me is in my early narrations at the end of each story, for whatever reason, I don't know why I did this, I would have this little echo. So it would trail off and it would be like, and then he was gone. And I don't know why I would do that. And it would, and like sometimes people still get comments and they'll like kind of tease me about it, but like I feel like it was genuinely like, even though it was like the first thing I really learned the hard way, there's like, decent audio editing is something that you need to at the very least know the basics in, at least at least compress your audio, dog. Come on. Like it was really bad. But that little echo was the first thing I had to really learn how to take out of videos and not do, and like kind of get made fun of a bit and roasted a bit. And yeah, I don't know, like, but I still get comments every so often, people saying, I missed that, dog, you should bring that back. And sometimes on like super old videos that have survived over the years that didn't get deleted and that have that echo on there, people were just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like what, like why are you doing this? Like because like the last word would be completely like you wouldn't be able to understand it, because like not only did it have an echo, but like I said, I didn't do any noise reduction, and not that there was a ton of noise, but like like it was a busted mic, like I said, so it'd be kind of like shh in the background a bit, so it would be like shh, like it was not good. Like so like yeah, that was the first thing I'd probably say I had to learn the hard way, was just like adequately at least doing the minimum to your audio to make it sound good, because I had no clue what the hell I was doing at the beginning.
Same. That's something that I wish I was a bit more aware of, but I learned as I went, sort of a thing. Like, so I helped Lucid Lupus out with some of his audio. I'm like, hey, if you do noise reduction, will get rid of your background. Within like a week or 2 weeks, he was there telling me how to fix my audio. It was funny. Because he learns things super fast. Yeah, like that's why my audio sounds so much better. It's because of Lucid. And Nordic Vampire, he helped me with my audio a bit as well. Just so many people have helped me with my audio, but your audio is very important. I used to use like a reverb thing with my first couple of videos, and then I posted it on Reddit and someone roasted me for it, and I was really salty about it. I'm really happy that person roasted me because I stopped using it, and my channel started to grow
Constructive
then.
criticism is hard to take for sure, especially because like most people don't do it constructively. They just do it like mean. They're like, "You fucking suck." It's like that's not really constructive criticism.
It's
Like
like
constructive criticism implies you're gonna give me something constructive to work on. You know, like, "Hey, this isn't good, but maybe if you did this, you know, that
yeah.
would be constructive." Just be like, "You fucking suck, dude. Like, what the hell, you nerd and a freaking reverb. Like, what the fuck? You sound like you're in a hallway, you idiot." It's like, damn, dude, thanks. Like, it's like, all right, shit, but like, it is necessary. Like as much as you kind of want to ignore it and be like, oh, well, they're just being a hater. You, unfortunately, like if you see it more than a few times, you're probably like, oh, maybe it is me. And like at first, I was like, you know, I was salty too. I was like, nah, dog, this is unique. Nobody's doing this. And then I was like, eventually, I was like, yeah, nobody's doing this for a reason.
Oh.
Because like it sounds dumb.
I think it can be good, like with certain things, so like the echoing going off. But I don't know.
Definitely. I mean, it has a place for sure. But like learning that place and like the moderation and all that is definitely hard. But that's what I love about YouTube though is that I hate it at the same time because people like take it so seriously. Like, oh, this isn't like the most professional BBC thing I heard. It's like, no, well, this is also just a YouTube channel from some guy in his bedroom in Florida. But whatever. But like that's the cool thing about YouTube is that you can grow and learn with what you're doing. Like you can start off and like kind of have an idea of what you want to do, and it might not sound good at all or it might not look good, but over the years, I'm sure all of us have watched YouTubers where like their editing or their format or whatever it is has gotten better and better, and like now you watch old videos, you're like cringe at it, you're like, wait, how is that even the same person, you know? But like that's the beauty of YouTube is that you do have that timeline, you do have that way to be able to see the slow and steady growth of that said creator.
That's true. Like that's one thing I love. Also, thumbnails are very important. Like much more. Derek made a little, like on Insta, he made a video thing on thumbnails a little while ago. I think it was on Insta. I have a terrible memory, but my whole thumbnails are terrible. It's like you let this happen. But TDN.
I don't know how I
thumbnails.
made nearly the career I did off my thumbnails. Before TDN started making my stuff, it was so bad. I used some terrible app for years, but it worked. And I mean, hey, I've done some dumb views with those really bad thumbnails. So I'm not like people who talk trash about my thumbnails. That was actually something I used to see the most trash about from like other narrators and stuff. Like thumbnail game is weak, bro. But I'm like, still doing better than you, bro. Feels bad, bro. Oh. No, but yeah, thumbnails are super important. Like once I learned that I had no interest in Photoshop, and when like I said earlier, like if I have no interest, the ADHD just takes over, and it's like I cannot focus on it. So when one thing I learned from Mr. Beast, I heard him was like, when you get to a point to where you're getting like YouTube checks that you can afford to be able to pay somebody to do something that you hate the most about your job, do that. And the first thing I did was like, I really hate the thumbnail process. I'm not good at it, and I want them to look better. And, you know, luckily I found somebody who made decent thumbnails, and I was like, you know what? I would be completely down to pay you to make my thumbnails for me. And that was kind of like my first employee. Well, I guess I had like a video editor for like documentaries before that, but that was like a part-time thing. So like my first like full-time thing I paid somebody to do was the thumbnail thing, just because I knew it needed to be better and I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to focus to make it better. Like I probably looked up how to put an outline on an image like 300 times. Not even kidding. I watched the same stupid tutorial, and every time I opened up Photoshop, I just wouldn't remember how to do it. So I was like, oh no.
But,
so yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Because by the time I've done like the thumbnails is what I used to do last. Because by that time I'm just like, I'm done. I want the video to go up. I'm tired. Just whatever. It's like it's fine, but it's actually the first thing a potential viewer who's new to your channel, like who hasn't seen it, sees first. So it's the first impression thing. Well,
yeah, definitely. Titling, all that kind of stuff matters. I think a lot of people focus. I think the last thing I'll share before I have to leave is a lot of people, when they first start, they focus on the complete wrong aspects about this type of content. People think that people subscribe to us because we tell scary stories, and that is the complete like wrong mindset to look at this. Like nobody really realistically cares that you tell scary stories, and they don't care if they're true scary stories. They really don't. They only care about if you're good and you have a personality that they can relate to. People wouldn't subscribe to me nearly as much as they did if I just told scary stories like everybody else. You know, I put my personality into it, I put my own format into it, and I've curated and created my own style in this niche that was already oversaturated even way back then. So like it's just like I think people just focus on the wrong aspects of the horror genre. Like yes, horrific stories that are true and that are super, you know, clickbaity in the sense that it's like 15 people burned in a fire, you know, stuff like that. Like those sound like they would do really well. In reality, you think they would, but in the way it actually works, like that kind of stuff is just not what's gonna normally work, and people don't really care about the shock factor more than they care about the quality.
I've noticed that too. Plus, like, I've generally found if you're dealing with like disturbing themes, if you don't have a lot of quality in the production, it can seem like, you know, it's almost exploitive or like disrespectful as well. In a way.
Yeah, definitely. It's towing the line. Like it really is hard because I've had that many times where I've had a couple stories where like I have had inspiration from things, say like missing 411, where people are going missing in state parks. And I've had stories where like I've collaborated with authors in the past where we've made stories based on some of the many theories that people have talked about. And I've experienced people being like, "Oh, that's insensitive. This, you're exploiting them," and etc. and all that good stuff. But it really does that. You have to like find like that line where, you know, you have to like put enough of yourself into it, enough of like what's right into it, and not and then like, you know, keep that exploitive part, like the stuff that people don't mean to do, like the crazy titles or like so a lot of people in true crime, it kind of sucks. It's like they'll frame something a way that it's not, like super ambiguous, like I'm not saying Bigfoot stole this person in the woods, but you know, it is a possibility. That kind of stuff.
I think also leaving things open and saying possibility kind of helps too, because then people will imagine their worst fear associated with whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Skinwalkers, that's what people like. Exactly.
Skinwalkers
More skinwalkers!
Skinwalkers are really popular on TikTok at the moment.
They've just continuously have become pop culture like phenomenon multiple times, and I mean, hey, I love it, whatever helps me out, but at the same time it's very interesting to see how skinwalkers over the past 10 years have become like the new boogeyman of the internet.
That's true. Like it's also the Wendigo as well. The Wendigo.
They change every couple of years. It's crazy. Like it used to be Bigfoot, remember, and then it was Dogman, and then it was Skinwalker and Wendigo. It's like, which are two completely different things and have like from two completely different parts of North America, but at the same time, everybody's like, they're the same thing. God damn it.
Yeah, I wondered about that because they do have similarities. I know one of them has like the horns or the antlers. No, antlers. Sorry.
Oh, and if we're gonna go by like the actual like lore from the indigenous people, like the antlers and all that actually have like nothing to do with anything. Wendigos are actually just like people that are possessed by a cannibalistic spirit, and they go insane and kill people and eat people and have unsatiable hunger. Like the whole thing that like the only reason why people constantly say Wendigos and Skinwalkers are deer creatures because there was a movie in the 90s that portrayed them that way. So like ever since then it's become like ingrained in pop culture of the deer head or the deer skull. And in reality, Washuge, which is from the opposite end of Canada, but is a very similar creature to Wendigo, would actually be closer to having like an animal skull or something, because those are that's based on a legend of becoming too strong in that Aboriginal lore, where, you know, essentially they have a spirit animal, and if you break a taboo, that spirit animal, you'll become possessed by it and go nuts, similar to a Wendigo, but it's more based on the actual spirit animal or guide or whatever you would like to call it. That's based on more of like the dreamer stuff and Charlie Yahweh and all that stuff. I have documentaries of all of this on my channel. If you go to my YouTube channel and scroll down, you'll see my cryptid documentaries. I go in depth of like where all of this stuff comes from. I've done it for like Wendigo, Skinwalkers, Bunyips, Raven Mockers, all kinds of crazy, scary monsters out there.
Oh yeah. Laura, could you please post Swamp's links, please? I think. Oh wow, we're closer to 3 hours now. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was gonna go on for so long. But would you like to come back on sometime?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, anytime. I'm always down to make some time and jump on over here and see what's going on with the vampire blokes out here.
A demon. So, it's all good. But yes, any final questions or comments, chat? I think I said that 3 or 4 times now. But is it late over there? Like, what time is it there?
It is 12:11 a.m.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep you up this late. Time differences.
No, it's fine. I probably would have been up anyway, but I was likely, if this wasn't what I was doing, I'd likely probably be doing something stupid on Twitch or something.
Okay. Derek. Demon blokes, yes. Alright, so there's Swamp's links if you haven't subscribed or followed. Swampy never sleeps. Oh. Dun dun dun. So
Sleeping is for people who are dead.
I mean you're not wrong, but damn. No, you should make sure you get sleep. Sleep is important. Everyone.
I love that laughs and streamer sleep schedule. I actually do have like a really healthy sleep schedule though. Like I do get like minimum like 6 hours, like, or at least 6-7 hours usually. I have like a really solid schedule actually. Like I keep to it for the most part, and when it messes up, my whole week is messed up. So I'm like I'm a creature of habit for sure.
Same. Like if my routine's messed up, it's like everything's ruined. But
Oh man, it's the worst.
It really is. It's just like everything the next couple of days until like I get back on track again. But I think we'll be signing off very soon. Spot Dweller, do you want to say anything before you head out?
Thank you to you first of all for having me on here.
My
It was
pleasure.
very fun. This was cool. I always enjoy being able to come on and have a good conversation and just chill. You know, it's nice to be able to get to know other narrators more and see their communities and whatnot. And you know, much love to everybody who's supported the swamp over the years, if you have, and much love to everybody who supports Lady Spookaria. You know, hopefully see big gains this year. I'm sure we'll see some good things coming. And I guess that's probably all I got to say. Come join me on Twitch. I do a bunch of stupid stuff over there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But what? Oh. No, sorry. Thank you very much everyone for joining us. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much, Swamp, for jumping on and spending time with us and answering our questions and dealing with our shenanigans.
Oh, anytime. Always down to deal with shenanigans and memes and all the good stuff.
So I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Stay safe, my little spooklings. And remember, I'll be watching.